Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Welcome. I'm going ahead and get things started here. Hope everybody had a good day today. It was quite warm here today. And let's see. There's the link. Going in. It's at the top. There, it's pinned at the top. Anybody wants to come on in, come on in. So like I was saying, today was quite warm. It got up to like 71 degrees. Here comes my good friend Tom to help save me. And I know Tom, he finished up today working with his hives, inspecting them and checking them out and things like that. At least I watched his video or whatever. And what do we got? Here's David Lewis. Hello, David.
Hey, David. Hey, Charlie, I got some good news to share today.
All right, go ahead. Tell us about it.
I went through 35 of my hives today. Not all of them, but I got a few more to go. But I only lost two of my because of very small cluster. Not all of them, but I got a few more to go. So one was a 3-year-old queen.
Hey, hold on.
She was just cluster.
Hey, David. Yeah, hold on. We're getting feedback. David, go into the YouTube and turn your volume off. We're getting feedback. David, go into the YouTube and there you go.
There, I turned off my TV. I didn't mean to do that. I pushed the wrong one.
When you come in,
I meant to mute my TV.
Yeah, when you come into StreamYard, you have to turn off your YouTube side of it. Where everybody's coming in. AV.
Am I?
You're on.
We got Tom and Melissa. We got Bob.
We
got the team here
somewhere. There you go.
There, I turned off my TV. I didn't mean to do that. I pushed the wrong one.
When you come
I meant to mute my TV.
Yeah, when you come into StreamYard, you have to turn off repeating your YouTube side of it. There we go.
Yeah, I just muted him. He's still got the loop going. Yeah, it's David's.
Turn off your TV or turn off your. You gotta mute your YouTube side of it, not the StreamYard side of it. Hey, Scott, Melissa. Here we got.
Like I was saying, I went through 35 of my hives today, and only 2 losses. One was an old queen that I was hoping to graft from. She's at least 3 years old. She might be 4. And then my last queen that I grafted, I did like 5 grafts, and one of them didn't make it. It was a small cluster too. They had food, just not enough bees.
Right.
So I'll take that.
Sounds like you're not going to graft from her this next coming year, huh?
Now, I graft once in the spring or twice, and I graft after the summer solstice. I replace all my queens every year.
Yeah.
I run what they call, Tom, double screen boards, and I put the spring queen, that was my production queen, down in the bottom block. Then in July, August, I graft again, and I make new splits, and I put double screen board and put them on top. Then the following spring, I sell the old queen, the production queen, out as nukes, and then I move my summer solstice queens down.
I don't think anybody's going to want that dead queen you're having there, Tom.
Well, it's still a spring, still a 23 queen, just a spring queen versus a summer
She doesn't have
queen.
any life left in her.
Yeah. Well, she's gone through one's production.
All right, Tom. Or well, let's see. How are we going to do this? Tom and Melissa. All right, you got VIA honeybees. What's the VIA stand for?
Would you like to explain it?
Sure. So it's via, like from the honeybees to the from the honeybees. But it's also our kids' names: Vanessa, Isaac, and Andrew.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
So long time no see, everybody. But I'm glad you're all here tonight. How's Dan doing?
Hanging in there, waiting for this crappy weather to get by. You know.
Really, it was 77 here today.
It was 71 here today and sunny. Now, this morning it was totally foggy, but this afternoon was gorgeous.
Hey, Charlie, I can tell you the bad news. 50 today and cloudy, and tomorrow it's supposed to rain again.
Hey,
You're
Joe,
not
that's
too much
funny
further
you're right.
south than me, Charlie. I mean,
Huh?
you're in Maryland. I'm up here in Jersey, and it didn't get above 45 here today.
is that
It was
right?
a lot warmer yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
we
supposed
were 45 and cloudy all day.
It's supposed to get cold here this weekend, so that 77 was just a flash in the pan.
Yeah. Now tomorrow it's supposed to be nice, and then Sunday it's supposed to rain like crazy, and then after that it's back at the 40-degree weather. That's what they're telling us anyway.
I'm still trying to figure out how Mr. Charlie's got sunshine behind him.
Yeah, no snow either.
Well, I got snow behind me, and
you
that's
do.
all melted.
All my snow's gone, and all. So
I update my picture once a month. Put it in my back as my background.
right. So
So you have to
Dan,
wait till
where are you
February.
located at, Dan?
I'm up here in central Jersey, well, a little bit south of central on the east side, right along the bay.
All right. I don't know. Maybe it is
Ocean.
cloudy up our way.
Ocean County area.
Right.
I don't know.
I got to update my list.
I bet you Mr. Rawls down there doesn't have too much snow in his neck of the woods.
I got that much.
That's
I don't
the
even know
amount
what
of,
snow looks like anymore.
that's the
Still
amount of
getting
snow I
rain.
like, Mr. Rawls.
What's that?
That's the amount of snow I like is none.
Yeah.
And I push
Me
the
too.
stuff for a living.
I think
Yeah, but
the last
you-
snow we got was in 2017.
But Tom, don't you take and plow snow?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's
I
pennies.
just don't
Pennies
enjoy
from
it
heaven.
that much anymore.
We got a creeper in the background.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the creeper in your own house, Thomas?
Oh, I see.
It's a neighbor from down the street.
Neighbor.
You want to be famous on a YouTube
The
live
light of
video?
your life.
I had one of my colonies I checked today had requeened itself recently in the last, within probably the last 3 weeks or so. It surprised me. It had two queen cells that were hatched out and a little small patch of cat brood and a little small patch of about 6-day-old stuff. So I don't know how in the world it ended up getting mated. If it did, I never saw her, but it's probably a dead colony anyway because it's kind of small this time of year.
Just sure they're not a mother-daughter.
I didn't see one in there. I mean, they had everything. They had food and pollen and everything, and I just condensed them down into one box and see what happens. Probably not going to make it, but if they do, I guess we're all right. We'll, in a few weeks, we'll add them some cat brood and stuff in there and try to boost them up, but I don't think they're going to make it.
I had a mother-daughter last year, and I got them all the way through the winter. all the way through the winter. Then in the springtime, the mother crapped out, and the daughter was a freaking drone layer. It was a September queen, and I guess she obviously didn't mate, but she made it all the way through the winter with her mother in there, and then come spring, she was a drone layer.
Sounds like you.
Well, it's, if they don't get mated within a certain amount of time, then that their spermafeca and everything
Yeah.
withers up and whatever. That's the
I think
best way
it's
I can
14
explain it.
days, something like that, after they old enough to fly.
Yeah,
Right,
I thought I had a
right.
chance. I thought I had a chance
seen
because it
them.
was September, but
I've
no.
seen them lay good for 3 months and then just shut down, start laying drones.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the queen that I had lost today, she was like a late August, early September queen. Probably didn't make good, didn't get the population up for winter time.
I had some queens like I think like that last year. That like you say, if they don't get out and you don't get them mated up earlier in midsummer, it doesn't seem like they work well for you at all.
Yeah.
I got into my hives. Well, I went out there this afternoon before the sun went down, and I just kind of went through the nukes and checking. I had this one little teeny hive, and I had put some sugar in it, sugar bricks, and it was getting low, so I threw some more in it. And then the rest of the hives, I kind of just opened them up to see whether the top area was full of honey, and pretty much, well, all of them were. It still had plenty of honey in there. I did pull up a couple frames occasionally, and pulled one frame up, and there was the queen on it, right in the middle, in the top, just kind of walking around and all that. So put her back down in there real nice.
Well, this hive that died was an 0 for 2 on trying to get me putting queen cells in and the queen making it back. So I finally just took a frame of eggs and put it in there. And actually, she made it back, but obviously she didn't get mated good enough because they didn't make it through winter. But no big deal. I only lost half percent so far.
Put some pollen
That's
patties
less
on
than 1%.
on yesterday.
Can't beat that.
And I checked one of the colonies today, one of those mean ones, right? With some smoke. I lit a smoker. I did a short, Joey. You can see I had one lit. I said, yeah, I know how. But they've already started pummeling it pretty good. So.
Well, that was like a good solid box of bees, though. That's one good thing.
Yeah, and that's when after I ran some smoke across them to push them down. But they that colony's doing good. It's kind of like feast or famine rates. I mean, this time of year for me, they either look really good or like, what the hell were y'all doing? I mean, it's like one way or the other.
Yeah, I had a few really big hives already. It's like, ooh, I already got 10 frame packed out. It's all good. Hey, I went through my 35 hives today with no smoke. But I had my jacket on, zippered up.
Well, I just wore my Ultra Breeze today, but I did get stung a couple times in the legs, right, by a few of them, but only like 2, not a lot. Not like yesterday. They were tearing my ass up. Got it on the cheek right here. Got it on the other side, on this cheek, on the ear. Had one get in my ear yesterday, inside my veil.
You got to zip it up.
Yeah, that's something I see when I start doing a video. I'll go out there to do a live, and I'll flip the veil on, and I'll set up my phone and put my glove on, and forget that I didn't zip the front.
I saw watching your video, and I'm like, I see you unzipped right here, and I saw when you waved your phone across the top, and they all came out. I'm like, oh, he's fucked.
Yeah, I had to go set it down, and then they'll get on your legs, and if you don't have that bottom sealed up good, like that Ceracell suit that I have doesn't seal on the bottom good, they'll walk all the way up your whole body and come out through the collar. So I got stung right here on the collar. So yeah, it was exciting days.
I haven't done crap with mine.
Lindsay's got a question here about small.
I don't think there's a whole big difference, at least the first couple of years. Maybe the third or fourth year.
I've had some little queens that were like blockbusters.
I've
They
had
were
a couple of
bad
stubby
ones.
ones.
I've had some great.
I've had a few stubby ones, and they lay good. I just wouldn't sell them with a nuke or anything. I just kept them in my own yard.
Same here. I've had a couple of real good small ones.
And like some of those Carney queens are smaller queens anyway. And some of like the Italian queens, I think, are bigger queens than Carneys.
Yeah, well, say shout out to Lynn from Baltimore Beekeepers, one of my clubs that I also belong to, and then DC Bees up here. Lost some frames, to the cold and stuff like that, and now DC is William, or no, it's David. So
if anybody here is in South Carolina, I tagged Pastor Larry there. There's somebody up in his neck of the woods selling one of those Hilco Ultramaxes for about $200 cheaper than they got it on the website. So he said it's still in the box, never used. So I don't know why they're selling it, but they're selling it for like, I think, $1,100.
Was that an extractor, Bob?
Yeah, extractor. It's a brand new in the box, never been used. Tagged Pastor Larry on. I think it's in these. Let me see. I'm not sure if it was this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's it's an 18 frame, $1,100.
Not too bad.
I guess it sells for 14 or something like that. So I think it's near him.
Okay, everything working?
Yeah, you're coming in, David.
Okay, thank you. How
How
you all doing?
Good. Sitting in your truck,
Good.
are you?
Yeah, I'm a semi-driver sitting in the truck,
Cut the dough.
trying to figure out how to get all this working again. There, now I can see everybody.
Hey, last night I was making comments on the stream, and I was coming across as myself. And today I made a comment. I just came off as Charlie, so that was my comment there.
Hey, Monica. And there's Monica from Mission Believe. There's Pastor Larry. Yeah, he sent you a text, Bob.
Did he?
So, there you now. It's much better, David. You got that light out of the way.
Yeah, I had turned off the dome light. I was trying to figure out why everything wasn't working earlier. I was trying to enter. I tried entering about 4 or 5 times before it finally let me in.
Okay. So where are you at? Right. I guess, well, you're in your truck. I can tell you that. But what state are you in now?
Pennsylvania right now. I was in New York earlier. Went by Tom's house about 5 days ago during the snow. I was about 3 miles from Tom's house.
So
They said it was about 3 miles off the loop around Cincinnati, so I went right on around there during the snow the other day.
So you haven't been able to check your bees or anything, I guess?
I checked them about a week ago when I left the house. I lost 1 hive so far this winter due to starvation.
Right.
Most of the hives I've lost this year have been from queen failure for whatever reason. And I say queen failure because they're just dwindled down so far and there's no brood in there, which means she must have died and they just kept shrinking down. So
I lost. It got too cold for the amount of bees they had.
yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot of grafting here and
They had plenty of food, both of them. I mean, actually, food right there on them. Just too cold. when there's only a basket, when there's only, shoot, 3 or 4 cups of bees,
I'm having,
probably 1,000 bees.
I'm seeing people around here posting that the red maples are popping already for them. So should start seeing some pollens coming in soon.
Yeah.
There in
So-
southern Missouri, a lot of our trees have buds on them, just waiting to pop.
Yeah,
He's back.
you're back. Like Phil here, he had a little bit of a problem there. His hives weren't tilted the right way. I guess he had
Moisture.
solid bottoms. Rain went into the front. Yeah, you just gotta jack the rear end up and let it rain out or run out the front.
Julie, are you seeing red maples down
Plastic
there?
shoes under there.
Yeah.
All right, who's got the radio running or whatever?
Not me.
No kids doing dishes today.
I thought we were in a commercial kitchen yesterday. I thought you were at a restaurant.
I apologize about that. I wasn't even thinking about that whenever he was doing them, and I asked him why he was supposed to be doing them the last day or so, and he decided to do it when I was in the middle of something.
Like my
almost got
wife,
kicked
she
out of
waits
our
until
house.
I drag a bunch of stuff out in the kitchen to start bottling or something. Then all of a sudden, right then, she's got to cook dinner and get it started. I'm like, you had all day.
We've got some background noise.
Yeah,
Somebody
I'm
has a
gonna
television.
go
or
through
radio
and
going.
mute everybody and see what's going on.
Hold on, nobody do nothing. I'll find out.
Yeah, let's see if it's me, maybe.
It ain't Dan, that's
You know-
for sure.
Let's see. Mike. First shot. Big Mike.
What's the matter?
You got some feedback somehow. Because when I
Did
mute
you
it goes away.
see if check your YouTube
I
settings?
shut that off as soon as I came. I'll go check again.
Okay.
Phil says his ground is like soup.
That's what my truck looks like after all the mud I've been into today up there in New York.
Bob, when do you start seeing the red maple?
I've got buds, but I was looking at some South Carolina groups there, and Larimore, who's east of me, is saying that his have popped and they're bringing pollen in. And some people on the other side of town of me said they're seeing the pollen coming in. But I didn't. Maybe I just wasn't observant because I really didn't watch the front of them. I kind of went to work, came home, and just started cracking colonies open and to check them. And I wasn't paying attention to it. But, I mean, they had some pollens stored, but mine in my yard just have buds on them. They haven't popped open yet.
Bob, when would you typically see the red maple actually start to release the pollen?
Yeah, around this time, first week of February, middle of February is usually when things start jumping off here.
So it isn't too early at this point then for you.
Nope. Not if the weather stays mild. See, Hope just said his are blooming. He's in the upstate from me, so.
Didn't you say something in the back was budding? One of our trees in the back?
Oh no, they're not budding. Our red maples here, I can see the buds are swollen, but we're still. I would probably think a solid 3 weeks away from that here in St. Louis.
We've got.
For my area, it's usually the end of February.
Yeah, so that makes sense then. We're
We've got-
slightly south of you, Tom. So
Yeah.
just a little bit.
We've got colder weather coming and some rain. So usually, a couple days after the rain stops is usually when the nectars and stuff start flowing. So hopefully we'll get a nice little spring nectar flow starting to get them ramped up a little bit.
Is that any better?
I still hear the feedback.
It might be somebody. You got somebody in the background with the TV on or something, maybe, Mike?
Yeah, but I can barely hear it. I don't know.
That speaker.
Maybe if I turn it away from that, is that any better?
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Now it's gone.
I turned my computer facing a little away from that opening.
There you go. Maybe it was just
perfect
catching
now.
some sound bouncing off
Now it's
something.
gone. I can barely hear it. I think it must be that. Yeah. worked out better.
Hey,
I don't
Bob,
hear-
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
As long as it's not an echo, it don't bother
Those
me that
tablets,
much.
those oxalic acid tablets or whatever, I don't know what you even call them.
Oh, the Appy tablets.
Yeah, how they working?
They work. I mean, I'll say this: everything is always speculation until you've repeated it, right?
Yeah.
But I
Three
know
times.
3 times. Joey says it's got to be 3 times. So the
Yep.
the colonies. I mean, one colony that I really thought was gonna just die. I mean, it looked terrible. The first one that I put it in, and it had a mite drop like crazy in that colony, and it's doing really well right now. So, for me, they're working.
Yeah. Now, do you sell them?
I do actually on the website. On my website, they
So what is your website?
bewares.co.co. You get it's a pack of 10 of them. Now they are a little bit thick.
Yeah.
So if you got an inner cover, they fit really nicely on top, but you could put them on the solid bottom board, slide them in the entrance if you need to. They're just going to consume them. It's primarily sugar, essential oils, and it's got 7 grams of thymol per tablet. And the bees consume them, and I hate to say it, but we all know thymol kills mites.
Yeah.
And you will get a drop. Now, I'm not telling you not to do another treatment or use another.
Now, do you know if they're approved throughout the United States?
Well, here's the rule. If it's sold as a supplement, it's approved. If you claim that it's a mite treatment, then there's additional steps that need to be taken.
I like the way you think.
Sold as a supplement. So use it how you want to. So there will be a neat video coming out, and this is the first thing. So we sent some up to Canada, and Brad put some in some colonies before he put them in the shed. And he went out and checked those colonies. I think he said he checked 4 of them. And the 2 that had the tablets on them looked dramatically different than the 2 that didn't have the tablet in them. So is that proof positive? I don't know. He said he won't really know until he pulls them all out and can look at. He put them in 10, right? So until you check the whole thing. But there's nothing. He said the main thing was it didn't kill his bees. There's nothing in it that'll kill his bees. And anything that would help with any expansion of the mites over the winter was the reason that he was checking it up there. So
I put one in each one of my 45 hives this past winter, and I ended up only losing 2. So that's a 0.5%. That's way below national average.
Well, mine had not fared as well, but I had issues beforehand. So when I say issues, I requeened everything. I did a big expansion. I requeened everything with my queens that this was my first year grafting. So chances are they weren't very good queens to begin with, right? Because it was my first go at it.
I hope you're not grafting from the one you just did the video on.
No. That was the one. That was that hive that had like 1,000 mites drop off of it. That
Wow.
I thought was dead. So, and it's made it all winter long, and it's doing pretty good right now. So, everybody has a different view of them. Even Philip, 33 Mile Bees, he's done some videos on them up in Michigan. He's had good luck with them. Todd over at Loma Vista, he used them on all his colonies out in California, and he's sold on them. He said he's going to do it on every colony. I'm going to redo mine here. I really should do it this weekend if I can. Put them back out, and any mites that are in there, hopefully knock them out or get them down lower before they really start brooding up for the spring.
Well, it'll be a while before I can even get into my hives. We got
But-
another snowstorm scheduled for Saturday, Sunday.
So the way it was explained to me, first off, the company that makes these is called Apimon, and they're a Turkish company, and they've been in business since 1960, I think. A long time, longer than I've been alive, right? Like, so 63 years. They've been in business, and they have they're in a bunch of different, like 80 different countries. They sell all kinds of products, but this is the first product that they've created in the United States. So these are actually made in New Jersey. Let me see, Delran, New Jersey.
I know where that's at.
So,
It's about 50 minutes from me.
So I mean, he's a good guy. They're good people. He's always treated me right and fair. So, and I like him. I mean, and honestly, he sent me a pack and he said, "Here, just try them. Just let me know, good or bad, what happens." And it kind of coincided with I was having a real bad hive beetle problem. So I replaced a lot of my bottom boards with those oil tray bottom boards. And so I had this, I'm like, I had to take them apart anyway. So when I took them apart to put the bottom board on it, I went ahead and put an Appy tablet on top of them and put them back together. And I came back a week later to check how many beetles fell on my tray. And I mean, you can go back and look at it. There's one live video that says holy sh@T. It worked. And I mean, that was really, I saw it and I did a live and just showed what I was seeing. And it was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So.
Well, I'll be getting a hold of you because I'd like to try some.
Okay, perfect. I've got about 8 cases left. Let me let my cat out.
I plan on redoing all my hives next winter with one, each getting a tablet.
How long does it take for the colony to consume them?
Well, they're ideally, they'll stay on for a month, right? However, mine have lasted a lot longer than a month in my colonies. So, I mean, I've seen them in there 2 months later, 3 months later. Yep, a lot of bees are still living.
Yeah, when I checked mine today, some of them had it gone, some of them had it half gone, 3/4. Some of them are eating it today.
Yeah, so the Appy tablet, like this question here, the Appy tablet is designed to be consumed by the bee. And the way that it was explained to me that it works is that the bees consume the tablet. The mites that are feeding on the bees then are ingesting the thymol, and it kills them. And so the best time to put them on is not during the flow, because you want the bees to consume them. It's not going to hurt anything in the colony, but the idea is to get them to consume it. So in the spring, when they're starting to get started, or in the fall, when they don't have anything to eat, you want them to ingest it. So, but it won't hurt anything in there. I mean, I've had them on all winter, and some of the colonies.
They recommend 1 per box, don't they, Bob?
1 per each box, yep. And it doesn't matter. It's not like you have to have one in the middle, one on the top. You can put them both in the top, both in the bottom. It's just so their consumption rate is slower on them. And a lot of people will say, well, where's the scientific data and all this and that? There's not. I'll be honest with you. There's not. You're not going to find a test on it. But what you will find is a, test for thymol. I mean, obviously, that's in a lot of stuff. Hive Alive fondant has thymol in it. There's really not a test. And they don't claim that it kills mites. So there's no issue there, right?
No.
I'm just telling you, the thymol in this, if you're paying attention, and you've got oil bottom boards or something like that, you will see mite drop.
Charlie, your honey's delicious.
It is. I have to agree.
You got the thumbs up.
I noticed though with the apple tablets, I had sugar bricks in with my hives, and they ate the sugar bricks before they ate the tablets.
Yep.
But now, since they're getting thin on it, they're really hitting it harder.
Well,
So
here's
I
something
decided-
interesting.
Yeah.
And I noticed in my colonies that had the strong microbials fondant and an appy tablet in it, they are eating the appy tablet before the strong microbials patty.
Okay.
So it's a little bit, I thought, because that's like mainly sugar with the strong microbials and the Apis biologics in it, that they would hit that first. But they seem to like the tablet a little bit better. But it could also be positioning on the colony and all kinds of stuff, right? So
Right. And I noticed some bees hit it harder than other bees. Genetics. I don't know. I mean, same size hives, but some of them tore it up and some of them didn't.
but I'm happy with them.
Well, I'll be buying 40 or 50 more again this fall, spring, summer.
Well, everybody come up to Canada. I'll have them up there next month.
Canada, eh?
Yeah, I'm going up there.
You better get your pronunciation of "a" down right.
Get some Tim Hortons.
Yep.
So we're going up there.
I think you gotta call it Timmy's. I don't think they call
Timmy's.
it
Yeah,
Timmy's.
Timmy's.
You gotta call it Timmy's.
We're going to Timmy's probably, but we're going up on the 22nd. The show starts the 23rd. I think 23rd and 24th. We're checking out of the hotel on the 25th. Then we're going to Ian's.
Now that's background noise.
and then we're leaving from Ian's and going up to Brad's for a day or so, and then we're flying back home. So
No, Paul there was asking what I was eating.
We expect a lot of video there, Bob.
yeah, it's good. Well, judging, it depends on their internet out there. But Ian says they should have like I think he said 400 or 600 calves on their farm at that time. So be interesting. And I get to see the mounds and mounds of dead bees in the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how many he sweeps up.
That is a lot.
He swept up more bees than
I told Tom last night when we were watching Ian's video, I said he should weigh those bees after every time he sweeps it, and at the end of the winter season, say how many pounds of bees
died.
He sweeps
I'd
up.
be curious of that myself.
About a wheelbarrow full for crying out loud.
I know, that's insane.
He sweeps up more bees than in my
video.
apiary.
That last video, he had a whole full. If you watched it as the camera moved, it was a whole wheelbarrow full.
I know. That's why I was saying, I wonder how much all that weighs and how many wheelbarrows he fills up each time.
The question is, how many times does he do that a winter? Every other week? Every week?
I thought he said before he does it once a week.
That's right.
I thought that he'd
Once a
said in
week.
the videos before, but
I wonder how long it would take him to fill up a Roomba. Just said a Roomba.
Super size Roomba.
Yeah, but how many hives does he have in that building?
Well, I think that's why he said he does it so often, is because it will start to stink if he doesn't sweep them up often enough.
I bet.
Oh, that I will. I'll have to get one of those made. I shoveled dead bees at Ian Stepler's shed.
That would be a good seller.
That's a good hat too.
Yeah, that would be.
I might get a one-off
And a
T-shirt
shirt.
made like that.
You should. Then break it out when you walk out of his house.
I went to Canada and all I did was shovel dead bees.
It was more dead bees than snow.
But it's going to be fun. Hopefully my wife's passport comes back in time. It should. mine's already made it back, but we had to resubmit her application, and that's still in process. So
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
let's see. Also made another batch of peanut butter creamed honey today.
I thought you were out of honey.
No, sir. I always have a little in reserve, just a little bit. So I decided to go ahead and cream that bit up. So I've got probably another small batch to make. So I made the Snickers creamed honey, made some peanut butter creamed honey, and I'm not sure if I'll probably make some more cinnamon creamed honey or something like that. People seem to like that. They weren't too fond of the Girl Scout cookie creamed honey, though. That Thin Mint creamed honey. Not many people were caring for the minty flavor of it. So what can you do?
Right.
That's when you just add thymol to the creamed honey, right?
Right, and then put it out there. Here you go, girls. Chocolate and mint in thymol for you.
Anybody have whiskey honey? No.
We have bourbon barrel honey.
You're making bourbon barrel?
Yep. It was our first batch. We started in August.
Yeah, we pulled it out at the tail end of October, and that's what we took to the Nobby event. We won second place.
Really?
And
Yeah.
the infused, yeah.
Mhm.
And what was that in the honey show area that they judged that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we entered several items, and the things that we took the best in would be our amber extracted honey pulled second place, and our infused honey, which was a bourbon barrel honey, that pulled second place. And we had a few other lesser awards on some of
Was
other.
that over there close to where the they call it the mead area was?
Yeah, kind of in that corner over there. Yeah. The varietals and the infused honeys are over there by the mead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just posted my video that I put up tonight. You'll probably see your bourbon barrel honey in there. I didn't read everything on about it, but I figured it was mead and the mead and whatever, Was it off to the right hand side or up on where they had the mead bottles stacked up?
So if you're facing it, it was to the left. So they had the light, the amber, and the dark, and then they had did they have the varietal after that? Then they had the varietal, and then the infused, and then the infused spicy, and then the meads.
Yeah. Now, where was the bourbon off to the right of the mead?
No, it was in with the infused. Yeah, the non-spicy infused.
It was just slightly to the right of the middle of that entire
display of the honey.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. I was trying to, when I was filming that, people are like getting in my way, like, get out of the way. I'm trying to do a pan shot here,
That was impossible to get, Charlie. We tried to do the same thing, and it just was not going to happen.
Right.
I did go back and watch your video, Charlie, from when you had done the interviews there at the Nobby event. And
part
you
one or
mentioned,
part two?
Actually, I watched both. I watched both of them. I watched both.
Well, there's part 3's up tonight.
Okay, yeah. I noticed
it
that
shows
one wasn't.
I do the honey, Seth Hill, and a friend of mine, George.
Okay, well, we'll be sure to pay attention for it. I noticed on the first 1 and 2, you had asked me on the first live when we were on Ricky's, I believe,
right?
If we were the ones that purchased that license. I seen you had gone over there on I think it was your part 1, and had checked out all the license equipment pretty thoroughly, and then kind of moved on and around. And then
when
you made it over to Ricky's area, you were checking out the hive with the horizontal hive with all the electric fractals that he had made. That was one that we had
sitting in our garage.
It's sitting in our garage. We had
really?
I've been talking to him about that for probably 2.5 or 3 months before Nobby. I said, hey, I want to order another one. What kind of ideas do we have? And that's when we brainstormed and come up with the wood that we wanted to use, as well as the the electrical fractal idea. So it looks really beautiful. It'll
That
be on
was the one
display.
with, that's with all the, I don't know, lightning bolts or whatever you want to
Yep.
call
That's
it.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
that's
absolutely
it.
right.
I
I've
would like
seen,
to see a cherry wood hive done with that process.
What kind of wood?
Cherry.
Cherry,
Oh yeah, cherry is beautiful wood.
yeah, and then have that black
Hey,
line
Jason.
going through it.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sharp looking.
Oh,
I
I'm
think.
sure it would.
Tom, do you have licensed equipment?
So
Yeah, we do.
I only have one piece. We purchased at the show, and I had dealt with Dwayne from Dogwood Ridge, and he was a great person to deal with. We had purchased the automatic uncapper, so I purchased just a portion of the line. I didn't purchase a full lineup.
I've got
he,
that.
he,
Semi-automatic.
he purchased the one I said, now this one here is $6,686.
I got the semi-automatic one, the one with the crank.
Oh yeah, okay. That was the one that I was originally looking at, Bob. And after talking with a few people, one of the people was here in St. Louis. His name is Jim Masucci. He was a research scientist for Monsanto, and he only lives about 15 minutes from me. And I was able to make a connection with him. He had purchased one last year. Now I was planning on just getting the hand crank like you had yourself. And the more I talked to him, he said, Tom, you know how it goes, because I own a landscaping company. He said, you know how it goes whenever you're dealing with anything in business. He goes, you always are going to regret that you didn't go just that extra step further. So I took his advice, and I can't tell you yet if it's paid off because I haven't used it, but I feel like it's going to be a good.
Does yours have like the, I know one of their automatic extractors has, like, I call them the Simple Harmony, because you remember the Simple Harmony little window?
We own that too. That's what we had before.
Right.
So on one of the licensed uncappers has the blades,
yes,
and then underneath the blades has those discs. So anything that doesn't get uncapped by the blades gets sliced by those.
Really?
Yeah, you might want to take a look at it. It's like down on, once it goes through the blades, it rolls through those expanding blades.
That's interesting. I had kind of looked pretty closely at most of them, and I didn't catch that.
And they may not have had that one at the show. I saw it.
Immediately, well, it popped up
on one of them. Sorry. And you can't see it on the Better Bee site. It doesn't show it, but I think I saw it on YouTube, on licensed YouTube page.
So how long have you had yours, Bob?
This was the first year I had it. Last year I bought one that was I got the 1500 millimeter tank, and then I had the tabletop steam uncapper.
Yeah.
And then I sold that just last week, Charlie, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had bought the other one with the uncapper this year. So
yeah. So you obviously had a chance to use it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you really like, and what did you not like about it?
It's kind of hard to adjust.
Okay.
Because depending if you run deeps, you're going to have it set one way. If you're running shallows or mediums, you're going to have it set another way. It really does not like plastic frames. Just because the plastic frames are slick on the stainless and it wants to kind of wiggle around.
When you say plastic, you're not talking plastic foundation. You're talking
frames.
Plastic.
Yeah,
okay.
Like Pierco or Acorn frames.
Okay.
It doesn't like them too well.
Okay. Well, I don't have to worry about that, so that's good.
So the wooden ones definitely are a tighter fit in there, and it makes it easier for it, less slop in the machine. But other than that, I mean, I like it great. I do it all myself, so it's not like I have somebody feeding it and doing that while I'm running the extractor. But I can do 30 frames at a time on the table and then move them to my extractor. And while it's extracting, I can do another 30. And when it's done, just swap them out and just repeat. So it works really well.
How big of an extractor do you use, and how does that work for you?
I've got a 30 frame license.
Yeah. And that works pretty good, doing the 30 and then spinning 30 and spinning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Works perfect. I mean, just for me, right? I don't have a clarifier or anything like that. So I'm just running it into buckets and and then straining it before I put it in my bottling tank, which I've got a 18-gallon bottling tank and I got the pneumatic valve for the Lyson. It's a Lyson pneumatic valve you hook to a compressor, and it's got a foot pedal.
Yeah.
So you warm your honey up in the tank, and then you just step on the pedal, and it air pressurizes it and opens up the gate, and it just into the jar.
That's really neat. You should post a picture of that, or somehow I'd be interested.
I've got a video on it on my channel.
Well, I'll have to go to your channel and search that out.
It's loud, and I'm doing it in the kitchen because the compressor's running, but it's, I mean, I was looking at the what was it? Just the one drip valve, right? And they were like $200, and it was $430 for the pneumatic setup. So I just got that and hooked it to a little 6-gallon Harbor Freight compressor.
Yeah,
and works fine.
Sure. Well, I have a 24 frame extractor from John Hill. I upgraded to it the year before last, and I feel like that I may have to go a little bit bigger at some point in time, but I'm trying to figure out where my next bottleneck is going to be, because we did talk about potentially a clarifier right away, but maybe waiting until next season. So I'm not really sure how that's going to look.
Well,
exactly.
I was looking at clarifiers this year, and my thing was with the clarifier, you can't just buy a clarifier. You got to buy a clarifier and a pump.
Right.
Right. And the pump is where the money's at, not the clarifier. So, and the Lyson clarifier, it's heated.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit better. I think John Hill's is heated. It's got a tank under the bottom of it. But I think the license is heated around. So I don't know.
I did look at his stuff briefly on that, and I was trying to decide which direction I might go, because I've had a couple seasons with John's extractor, and John will stand behind his products. I realize all that stuff is not made in the USA, but John will stand behind it. I had a very small issue, and right out of the gate, and John was willing to bend over backwards. And I'll tell you, at that point, he gained my trust. I think there's a lot to be said, not about just the product that you're buying, but the integrity after the sale. And that's what sold me. So I'm a big fan of John Hill.
Right.
I think that he runs a good business. And like I said, all of his equipment may not be USA made. And I realize that. But you're always trying to run that fine line of a branded equipment as opposed to a lesser brand equipment, and where the money's at. And, what I'm saying, it's always a juggle back and forth, right?
Right. I mean, when I was looking at Lyson, I go through that same thought process, right? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. I mean, I'm not a rich guy, and it's a lot of money to me. And my mom was German. And one thing I know about Europeans, they buy once.
Yeah.
They're not buying to like we do. Oh, that thing broke. Just throw it out and we'll go buy another microwave, right? They're buying a microwave that's going to last them their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of their thought process, So when Lyson is used so heavily over in Europe, I was like, I can't go wrong with that. And the price point on it. Now, at that time, John Hill was just starting to get his stuff up and going, right?
Right.
So it was not he didn't have a big extractor, and I was in the buy once, cry once mode, right? Just buy it. And so I went with the Lyson one, and I really like it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
A couple things that I think beekeeping manufacturers should take into consideration whenever they make anything, any company. Why don't you put the outlet on the bottom of the tank, right? Why isn't that a thing? Why do you have to tip everything up?
Right.
You already know the honey's going to spin to the walls and come down. Why isn't that directed right out the bottom? Right?
Well, that's one of the things that I like about John's extractors is that the valve, the honey gate is at the bottom, and inside it's like cone shaped, so it all tilts towards the valve, you know.
So the license is cone shaped, but it all goes to the outside, right? And most of it will come out, but when you get down to the end, whenever I'm done, I just throw a 2x4 under the back side to jack it up just a little bit to roll forward. But I feel like, why? You guys know.
That's right.
It's not an unknown thing, right? So
yeah.
But
I agree with that.
I'm happy with my license equipment, but some of it.
Pardon my interruption. Can you hear me, fellas?
Yes.
Yep, sure can.
Can you hear me all right, Bob? I've got a Helco heating tank, and it is sloped clear to the bottom. It'll drain completely out except for a teaspoonful or so.
Is that a clarifier, JW?
No.
Bottling tank.
Bottling tank.
Oh, bottling tank. Okay.
Heated bottling tank. Charlie, pardon me, I had trouble getting on. I
got a text from Lee. He was saying you were trying. I did not see you, but
you
figured it out.
Got me on here. I've been trying ever since Tom come on the first day. I couldn't get it to come up for some reason.
Yeah, well,
it was showing you had me pinned, but it wouldn't come through. I don't know. I told Lee you might be rejecting me. I didn't know.
No, I never seen you.
Yeah.
But so he had emailed or text me to see whether you're, I said, no, you're not here, not on my bottom strip. Or
he had to completely redo me, and I lost my virtual screen and the whole bit. So you're looking at my hanging green sheet behind me.
All right. Yeah, it's fine. No problem, JD. So Tom, how much honey do you guys, with 100 hives, what are you producing? 2,000 or 3,000 pounds?
So all of my hives this year were not production, and we had gone from, let me think. Last year, I think I settled in coming out of winter. I think I had 60, and then I bumped that up to the 117 mark. So I had about, I would say, a solid 40 where we're more production mode. But, kind of like we talked about before, Charlie, my sole interest does not lie in honey. I really enjoy the bees making splits, selling nukes, rearing queens. So I'm sure if I worked really hard at just honey production on them, I'm sure we could probably gain a pretty good amount. But this last year we did harvest, I believe it was about 2,400 pounds of honey.
We run 8-frame equipment. So we run 7 frames in our supers.
Yeah.
And I think we pulled like 120 or 126 supers. Not all of those were completely full either.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Now you're spacing them out. Do you have any problem where you got the frames and you're getting them, you got wax, straw and wax, but to get them to draw out fatter, do they sometimes put bird comb between the two? So they like
so if we put boxes that don't have drawn comb, we put 8 frames in them.
Yeah, right.
Until they start drawing them out. Once they start drawing them out real good, we'll pull that one frame out and separate them, and we don't really have any issues with them making bird comb then. If we were to separate them out and only put 7 frames in the box, then I'd suspect we probably have some drone comb issues, some bird comb issues.
We like to keep some pretty heavy waxed plastic foundations. I think that probably makes a little difference there. Bees will still sometimes try to cross that space up. I don't usually give them a chance. If I notice something, I'll cut it out right quick. That drives me nuts. I'm a little bit OCD. So when I see a frame that doesn't look right, I usually move it to the outside or, at some point call it, just because I like to see that beautiful honeycomb.
No, I had them in there where I was trying to get them to draw it out fatter. And sometimes they would try to make a bridge from one comb to the other. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You're supposed to get fat.
Yeah. We've seen it a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit.
Okay. But no, I figured, well, since you bought the automatic uncapper that you were, you got 100 and some supers. That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I don't want this to take me several weeks to do, I want it to be done and over. I'll spend a little bit more money because like Bob said, you want a one and done. I don't want to have to come back and purchase this stuff again in 5 years. I mean, I understand that there's a likelihood of growth and such, and that could limit you a little bit too. But I feel like I planned ahead. I have no intention of becoming a commercial guy. I don't want to run 500 or 1,000 hives. That's just not my interest, But I also want to make sure that I can get things done in a reasonable amount of time, because the more time that I'm harvesting honey or doing that means the less time I have to either spend with the bees specifically or, running my landscaping company. So there's only so much time in a day,
Well, like you say, you got your wife helping you. I guess your kids are helping
a little bit. Yeah.
You got.
Well, that's the other thing. Our boys they'll be 18 in July. So how long are we going to be able to coax them to keep helping us?
Yeah.
Well, do they have any interest in stuff like that?
Only because we make them.
It's limited. Our boys are really good. We have a daughter who's 21. She's married and recently had our first grandson. So she's out of the house. But then we have our twin boys who are seniors this year, and they'll be 18 mid-season. So we just understood that we're going to need to start adding some equipment if we want to keep within a certain time frame of extraction. So that was why we started planning ahead a little bit. And so far, it seems to be working well. But our boys will help out if we ask them to. They don't particularly like to work with the bees every day, but they won't hesitate. They're not scared of them. They just would rather be doing 18.
I can change them, bring them down here to my bees.
Yeah, we've heard that quite a bit. People are like, "Hey, do they?" And I'm like, you know what? You want to motivate a young man or a young woman? Pay them. Yeah. That's motivation, right? When they're looking to get a newer car or a truck or whatever it might be, money is a driving force there, right? So people are like, "Hey, send them my way," and I'm like, "If you pay them enough, they'll come."
That's it.
No, like for me, I mean, I've got a 18 frame extractor, but it's only me. So I only harvest what I feel I can get done in 3 days time. So there's not any wax moth or hive beetle issues while they're sitting there waiting for me to get extracted. And I don't have
that seems very wise.
I don't have a dedicated honey house too. If I had a dedicated honey house, then I would think about maybe having a unit like that in there in a bigger extractor and whatever, something that you didn't have to move or put away.
Yeah.
And all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that to me is almost a huge downfall. We don't have a dedicated space, and we don't really have a dedicated space either. How much simpler, if you think about that, if every one of us here in this chat had a dedicated space for honey processing or storage, how much easier would that make everybody's life right here?
Well, Tom, he's building one in his barn.
I just built one.
You did?
Yeah.
Sounds like
in my barn.
Go now.
It's all walled in. It's got all I got to do is mount my extractor back down to the floor, because I don't have to tilt mine either. It drains out.
Is that in that big outbuilding that's sitting behind you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice barn.
It's nice tight. The only thing that can get in there is spiders. Bees can't even get in because they try to get in. Because they smell all the honey and that in there.
Yeah, those bees eat you out of house and home in a hurry if you let them, right?
Oh yeah, I let that door open, garage door open. I got 100 bees in there.
Yeah.
But I got a window. I just let them back out.
Yeah.
They fly through the window on the other side of the building.
Does anybody else here in the chat have any experience with lysine? I'm just curious what everybody else's thoughts are.
I'm a hill.
I got a Hilco.
Maxim.
What do you got, David?
I got a V-board.
V-board?
Yeah.
Does it have a motor on it?
Tom is from Hilco up there. I've got his extractors and heated bottling tanks and extraction, this table, so decapping table tank. So it's all come from John up there. I'm just east of you about 140 miles. Straight out 50 east out of St. Louis.
JW, did you say that you were coming to the wet workshop we're having?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Did you already buy your ticket?
Yes.
Good, because
And I've got reservations right there at the motel.
oh, perfect. Well, Melissa here and myself will be staying there Friday night. We're not only 25, 30 minutes away, but we know that Friday night into Saturday, we're going to be pretty busy. So we're just going to stay the night up there that evening and get a good early start on that. But I realized tonight we were just having some conversations with the EMBA board president, and they actually closed out sales for the beginner side, and they only literally have a handful left on the intermediate. And I kept trying to push on him to get him to open up more sales on it, and he wouldn't budge on me. So I hate to tell people no when it comes to people wanting to sign up, because I still feel like we have 2 weeks time. I bet we could get another 20%. And if people are wanted to sign up, but unfortunately I think we're just running out of room in the facility that we have. But we're going to make some changes, and next year will be a little bit bigger. But glad to hear that you got it all.
What did you? Are you having speakers at what? Are you?
Yeah. So it's a 1 day workshop for the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association, and I will say it's on a Saturday, February the 10th. On that Friday night before, which is the 9th, we're going to have a Mardi Gras party that evening. It's still at the same location at the Aviator Hotel in St. Louis. We're going to have food. There'll be drinks there, and there'll be door prizes, and we're going to have a lighthearted speaker. Then that Saturday, it's going to be the main workshop. We'll all start off in the same room just for the first, I think, hour, an introduction, and then Mr. Ed or Jeff Horshaw is given an opening talk. And then the beginners beekeepers work toward a different room. They're going to go into a different conference room, and there'll be 100, I believe, in that room. They're all going to be taught by a lot of the experienced past board members and a couple current, whereas the intermediate side will then have Greg Burns. He's giving 2 talks from Nature's Image Farm. Mr. Ed is giving one at the end of the day on
screen bottom, double
screen boards. We have Nathan Coleman with Duck River Honey. He's going to talk about
marketing.
That's right, marketing. And then we have Jennifer and Stanley Evans with Whiskey Trail Bees. They're going to give a talk on adulterated honey or funny honey. And am I missing anyone?
Jim Masucci.
Oh, yeah. We have our local guy, Jim Masucci. He was a researcher, and he worked for Monsanto. He's going to talk about pests and a little bit of pathogens. Real experienced and a real educated man. So
what talks is Greg given?
Greg is, oh, shoot. Can you pull that up so I can get the exact on Greg's?
Yeah.
Probably queen rearing, Bob.
Actually, ironically, we don't have anybody talking about queen rearing at this workshop, but Corey Stevens, he's my favorite. And if he comes on here, I'll see that. I think he knows that. Obviously, a Southern Missouri gentleman. He actually was at our meeting in January, and just our monthly meeting, and he gave a nice presentation and talk. And then on our February meeting at just our monthly, we have a gal named Julia Mahood. So if anybody is ever interested in learning about drones, look up a gal named Julia Mahood. Bob Benny had done a video with her. She's in Georgia, and I believe she's tied to one of the colleges down there. Gives a great talk about DCAs. I would look it up, a good educational point of view. So she'll be in there in February. But going back to the our 1 day conference, I needed to pull this up here. If you can give me 1 second, I can tell you. But Greg's given 2 talks that day. Somebody just asked me on here where we're at in St. Louis. So me and Melissa ourselves, via Honeybees, is actually located in a small town just outside of Eureka Pacific area called Gray Summit Labadee. That's, if anybody has been down 44 coming through St. Louis, there's 6 Flags there. If you go about 9 miles west of there, that's where we're at. But the Eastern Missouri mainly works out of the St. Louis area, and our meetings are held just out into the county area. So,
yeah, Tom, I was in the cattle business for several years, so I've made several trips out there to the Preener Research Farm right there by you. So
yeah, that's about 2 miles from my house.
Okay, I know exactly. You're pretty. That's where you're at then.
Yeah.
Joy, you look awful comfortable over there, all reared back in that stuff recliner, and here I'm sitting on an old straight back.
It's just a big L-shaped couch here is all it is. I don't my office had gotten taken over with all kinds of stuff, so I usually sit here and work at the table or work on the couch doing computer work and stuff like that. So
my comment was to Joey Rawls.
Joey, my bad. Yeah, he does look pretty comfy there.
Awful quiet.
Yeah.
Got his thinking
Go
cap
back one
on.
more.
Swarm management, and honey production, and then queen.
I'm going to say goodnight, everybody, and thank you.
Greg is going to talk about queen.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Good night, Mike.
Good night.
So are you think, Tom, you're going to have maybe a 2-day event maybe next year?
So I don't know if it'll be a 2-day event. Now, I have enough gas in my tank to be able to do that, but I don't know if everybody else in the club does. Sometimes people just want it over with, but I enjoy spending time with people. I really do. Just like you all sitting here having a conversation. This is fun for me. I really like that. So I'd be more than happy to do a 2-day event. Sometimes people have a tendency to stick with what they know, and they're like, well, this is the way we've always done it. So, we want to shake them up just a little bit and, do things a little bit differently, but, we're only 2 board members of like 7 or 9 of us. So, but I'm not saying it wouldn't be possible. And maybe after this one's over, we're going to revisit that idea and then talk about a larger location and start to do some planning for this next year. So we could make it a little bit bigger. So if people outside of St. Louis or, around y'all's area wanted to come out and visit and listen to some great speakers, we would have more time and it might be more justifiable for somebody coming in from out of town if they had a 2-day event as opposed to just a single-day event. So
right.
I would just
now I'm curious with your beginner beekeeper class, do you have a Beekeeper 101 type class where they go for so many weeks and learn?
No, not exactly, but
it's the 1-day class, and then there is for the beginners there is a follow-up class a few weeks later.
Right. Yeah, specifically just for them.
Right. And I mean, our club puts on a class where we partner with the local Hartford or the community college, and well, we've used to do it ourselves before I got into it, but then they got the state apiary inspector she happens to live in the county, and she does it every year for us, but it's a 6-week course. And they start out, everything's pretty much classroom except for like the last class. Usually they'll go to her place if everybody can come, and she'll show how to install a package of bees, an actual, live package and everything and all that.
So we don't specifically have that within the club, but Melissa and I are working with, everyone's probably heard of the Great Plains Master Beekeeping Program.
No, not really.
If you're from the Midwest, you probably understand that. So that's
out of Nebraska.
Yeah, it's actually out of Nebraska. Melissa and I are going through that master beekeeping course currently, and they do have monthly meetings that during the season do a little bit of classroom time, but then immediately go out and work in the bee yard and go over things, and then you can test out throughout the season as it goes along. Yeah, that's free until you hit the tests.
Right. Yeah, it's for our class is $60, and half of it goes to the college and half of it comes to us and all that. We split it up that way. But I was going to ask you something. Oh, I know what it is. Is it Heartland Beekeeper Conference in your area?
The HAS?
Yeah, the HAS, the Heartland Apiculture Society.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been to one of their things.
No, we haven't been to one of those.
I think it has been before. I think it moves around. I think it has been before, but we
It's in
haven't.
Indiana or a
Yeah.
couple different states, I understand.
Yeah.
I know we're having EAS. It's coming here to Maryland in August of this year, but I don't know. I downloaded the schedule and it's, I don't know. It's just, I guess when you compare it to the Bee Expo, it's like there's no comparison. I don't think there's anything that can compare to that either.
Yeah.
What's nice about going to some of the smaller conferences though, because like we went to the Be Alive conference in Slidell, Louisiana earlier this
down
year.
there with Joey.
Yeah.
We hung out with him.
And what's nice about, and we went to the one in Quincy. I can't remember what that one was called. Quincy, Illinois. But anyway, the thing about going to some of these smaller ones, what's nice is like you actually get to talk to people, right? Where at Nabi, like you get to talk to people, but you kind of feel, I anyway feel rushed because I don't want to occupy anybody's time for too long because I know so many other people, you know, want to talk to this person or that person or, you know, whatever. So I just kind of, and there's so many, like everybody's there. So like you want to talk to everybody, but like you can only fit so many people in, right? Because you only have.
Yeah, a smaller event, as long as it's got some nice speakers and stuff like that. Hey, Sandy.
Right.
And all that would be good. I actually joined a bee club. It's up in Michigan, Sustainable Beekeeping or something like that. I know Phil from 33 Mile, it belongs to it. But what I kind of liked about it's virtual, but some of the speakers I've not seen before. And there's always they might have a different take on things. And that's why I figured, well, I'll check this out. And, it was $35 for the conference. It was $20 for the membership. And then you get to watch the videos throughout the year and all that. So I figured it's a pretty good deal. And then I also belong to a club up here in Westchester, PA. They're having a virtual winter conference. And I think is that right? I think it's on the 24th of February. I'm not sure on that. I'll have to look it up. But anybody can go to that. They've got a huge amount of speakers coming in from all over the United States. And it's also, I think you can watch that for so many weeks after the conference.
So, Charlie, were you talking about going to EAS this year since it's up in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, it's only 45 minutes from my house, and I'm like, I'm sitting there looking at the schedule of what they're offering. And see, the way they offer that is the way I get it is it's a whole week long thing, but there's like the sort of like a beekeeping 101 course Monday through Thursday, I think it is. And then Friday and Saturday starts on Thursday. I guess it is. Thursday is a conference schedule. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And they have 3 different tracks. They got the beginner's track, intermediate track, advanced track. And I haven't really looked over it really close, but I find it becoming very hard for me to be it's like, oh, we're going to learn how to, let's say, make a nuke. And I'm like, I do that already, and and that's intermediate, it's like I was talking to Brian from Flower Street Bees here is in the chat side. He was down at, what's it called? American Bee, American
ABF.
ABF.
Yeah.
And they had a speaker there talking about the whatever you call it, amatraz, which is, apribar. Whether is it effective? Are the resistance out there? And the science guy was talking about the what they found in their experiments and stuff. And that to me now at my level and maybe your level, it's like that's the kind of stuff that I'm, interested. I mean, that's some of the stuff as far as the science type stuff on the science side.
Yeah.
I'm interested in. I want to find, I want to know what the findings are of stuff that I'm using.
Right.
And stuff
Practical
like that.
application.
And all that.
Yeah, techniques, what people's unique techniques are doing their application, managing their bees. That's what stuff I look for now. So, oh, that's a nice little trick.
Yeah, it's just and then I get in, like if it's science folks, it's like, okay, who are these people, Not saying that they're not good, but it's just advanced beekeeping, protecting the beekeepers, saving your back. And I'm like, all right, so I finally get it now. They're gonna not somebody, watching your back. It's more or less saving your lower back. Well, that's a hive lifter. That's all that is.
Yeah,
I got the answer to that.
Well, Charlie, you have a farm. You have a farm. You're saving the back. Didn't you have a Kubota tractor out there or something?
No, I got New Hollands.
New Holland. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one too. That's how
Yeah.
you save your back. You use the tractor.
Yeah, that's what I do, And then it says swarm. This person's going to talk about swarm before, during, and after. And I'm like, well, the first thing I do is I prevent the swarms from happening to begin with.
Yeah.
So, it just,
I want to talk about people that's coming to your conferences and everything. I want to throw a name out there. I don't know how far he can travel. Dr. Jeff Harris. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of him. He works with the Extension Research in Mississippi State University. This guy started keeping bees at around 12 years old. And then when he grew up, he went and studied the science of it. He's got a lot of knowledge, and if you can ever get him at one of your talks, he'd be a good man to listen to. Anytime he's close by around here, I try to go to him.
And what kind of subjects and stuff?
Anything and everything. You can tell him to bring his own playing cards, or you can tell him what game you're gonna play, and he's got the subject and the PowerPoints.
Yeah, Joey, that's like my friend, my mentor, my friend. He's a third generation beekeeper. So he grew up. His father was a commercial beekeeper. His grandfather was a commercial beekeeper, and he's a commercial beekeeper. He's the one who's got me running all singles, summer and winter. So I run single brood. I do single brood management and single winter management. We had 9 days where it never got above 32 degrees, and still I only lost 2 out of 45 hives.
Hey, Joey, that Jeffrey Harris, we're looking him up. He's got he's under a lot of departments: biochemistry, molecular biology, entomology, and plant pathology. So, he's got it all nailed down.
Yeah.
We'll have to maybe
you'd have to have a truck to haul all his degrees.
I think you do. Truck and a trailer, right?
Yeah.
You said you don't know if he travels much or he will travel?
I don't know how far he still works with the Mississippi State University. So I don't know how far they allow him to travel under that. Now, he may go on his own.
Yeah.
You just have to check with him to see.
So, Joey, do you know, does he have any educational videos out there that you could kind of preview them?
I don't really know. I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I don't
Well,
really know.
we may Google search him a little harder and see what he's got out there, and then
Yeah.
you know,
Let's see.
Well, I know Tom and Bob's been through their hives because I seen Bob on the TV fighting the bees this morning. But has anyone else? Have you been through your bees, Charlie, this spring or
Have I fed them?
whatever you want to call?
I haven't fed them. Hey, Philip.
Hey,
I haven't fed anything. I mean, I fed them this fall, and I went into them today and looked at the nukes. I didn't look at my production hives, and they had plenty of stores. But that's one of the biggest things that I find with, I won't say beyond beginner beekeepers. And it depends on where you're located too. I mean, around here, I don't depend on a fall flow whatsoever. There normally isn't any. And the last couple of years, we've had spotted lanternfly, which most you probably don't have. It's an invasive bug that excretes sort of like sugar water out of the trees.
honeydew.
Huh? Honeydew, yeah. It's BP.
Bee poo.
Actually, it's pee. It's what it is.
Is it?
Yeah. If you get a chance and watch Dr. Underwood from Penn State, she has a good presentation about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it comes in here late July through August. My hives will fill up with it in the honey super that I put on there, and people would say, "Okay, this thing's 60 pounds. You know, I'm good to go for the winter." I'm like, "No, you're not." And I put a feeder on top, and they'll take another 6 to 8 gallons of sugar water, and then I do that to all of my hives, and I don't, I go in there like right now, and they got, frames of honey left. They're still in there, and they got a couple more months to go. But
I'm basically the same. I run all stuff primarily 8-frame doubles.
Mm-hmm.
I check through them. I make sugar boards for them with a little pollen and my own secret formulas. You know how that is on the tops and my sugar boards and 8-pound sugar boards, and I've still got a good supply, and they haven't hardly touched my honey supply. I'm just a hobbyist. I've got 28 hives, but they've all made it so far, and I've got plenty of resources on them, and they've got plenty of their own resources, so I'm expecting to get through the winter in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at too. I mean, like you say, when you got a candy board on there and stuff like that, you should be, everything should be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've got Hive Alive and Apis Biologic products there too as backups, but I haven't used any of them yet.
Yeah,
well, Charlie, I know from checking it out that spotted lanternfly have showed up in the Cincinnati area last year. So I haven't seen any yet. So we're just a year or two behind getting a whole bunch of them, I guess.
They kind of petered out up here this year, Charlie. What did you find down by you?
Well, last year I had a ton of them, and then this year they were way less.
Yeah.
But I still had supers full of honey.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
And to me, it was great because I didn't have to feed midsummer, late July into August, like a gallon or whatever of fluid. And so I actually was able to cut my sugar bill by 500 or 600 pounds.
That's good. I mean, that's good. It was like that up here, like you said, not this past year, the year before. I guess 22.
Mm-hmm.
They were freaking things were all over the place, and they put away a little bit, not enough to make it over winter because I'm pretty much suburban. So, but this year the 23 they weren't non-existent, but they weren't nothing.
They weren't buzzing in the head and all that kind of stuff.
No, they weren't. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, but but back to the subject about like these different conferences and stuff. I'd like to find some other conferences to go to, maybe not as big as, like you say, the expo, but But I'm looking for quality. That's the biggest thing that I'm trying to find. And it's hard to find because most of your conferences are geared for the beginner
Have
and
you
that
ever
kind of thing.
have you ever seen Keith Delaplane?
I've never met him. So actually, maybe I did. Maybe Westchester Bee Club had him, but they used to have a 1-day conference, and that was one of the first conferences I went to, and it was really nice. And then along came COVID, and they lost her. They shut that conference down just a week before it was getting ready to go open, to do it because of COVID. It was held at the local college up there, and they never went back to it. They went virtual after that. And I'm like, yeah, virtual's fine, but I still like meeting people and talking to people,
Yeah, I agree. We had him as a speaker again prior to COVID. He come up and spoke at our winter meeting. I got a chance to meet him. That was a good boy. That man is a smart dude.
Yeah. Now, do you go to that new was it where Lanny talks about that New Jersey beekeepers?
Yeah, we got that coming
conference?
up at the end of we got that coming up the end of the February 24th or 25th. It's only 1 day. And I don't know what a bunch of people will speak, but I think we got, I think it's David Peck. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've met him.
Yeah,
he's from Better Bay.
Yeah, I got a big Better Bee order to pick up there.
Right.
Dumped $1,000 buying junk.
That's not hard to do.
No. Talking to Brad about picking up a couple of those poly hives, so I pulled the trigger on those.
Is that the Epime?
No,
No.
Like the styrofoam, the compressed styrofoam.
The license.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have one of those 6-frame nukes license, and I bought it just for more of an experiment, and I thought about using it as a cell builder hive for insulation. Try to get the bees built up earlier when it's got them cool nights and stuff like that, and everything.
Yeah, I ordered 2 of them.
I use the 7-frame Napa maze for my cell builders. Either split them or use the whole thing. Depends on how strong you want them to be. So
I'd love to get a couple of Apimays. They're just too damn much money.
Yeah, I see William direct cut. William, I was talking to a guy tonight on another chat. He's supposed to, I was wondering if he was going to go to their big convention up there with Natalie and all the different ones that'll be. I'll be getting, I don't know where, around Oklahoma someplace.
I don't know if you are interested in driving that far or not. Probably not, Charlie. But Illinois usually has a pretty good conference, and they had some good speakers this year. They had Jeff, Dirt Rooster, and Natalie, that young lady, and several, college type speakers. I didn't make all of them. I was up there. That was at Quincy. I'm talking about the one up at Quincy, the Illinois Beekeepers Association.
Okay. Yeah, there's
a drive for you, I know, but they usually have some pretty good speakers if you're interested in knowledgeable people, So.
Right.
That Quincy one, they did a really good job. That was the speakers were good, and that was nice organized.
Yeah, I thought so also.
They had a ton of attendance prizes. That was like a never-ending attendance prize table. Goodness gracious!
And I didn't get a one.
Were you at that one, JW?
No, we didn't either.
JW, you were at that one as well?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a little, you're way out there. Welcome, Jack from New Jersey, I presume.
Yes, yeah, Charlie. I've been following.
Huh?
I've been following you guys.
You're
I've been following you guys for a while. I decided to jump in tonight.
Well, glad you came in. Always good to see a new face and all. So let's see. Dan here is from New Jersey. That must be your neighbor.
He is. I know Jack.
There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had my YouTube still going. I just shut it. There was a big echo over here.
Yeah, turn the YouTube off and just
Yep.
or turn the speaker off in YouTube.
Yep. Yeah. And done. Charlie, can I ask you a question, man?
Sure.
So I was following you guys last night, and you were talking about your 40-gallon tractor supply, 2.4 gallon per minute feeder. Right? Is that what you have?
Pump.
Is that what you feed sugar syrup with?
I feed you run. I was reading another chat thing. Run that by me. The question about what about the feeder?
You have a 40-gallon
Mixing machine.
All right.
It's a mixer.
Okay.
I mix up 40 gallons of sugar water in a 55-gallon honey drum, and then I heat it while I heat the water, and then I pour 250 pounds of sugar into it. It's got a mixing paddle inside it running off of a regular 3/8 drill motor, I think it is, or half it, and then I heat it and I let it cool down, and then I usually mix. If it's in the fall, which I'm normally using that, I put Apis Biologic in it, and then I feed it to my bees through a 40-gallon tank, a pump tank.
Yes.
Back in my truck.
That's what I was asking about. Is it like a Tractor Supply 40
Tractor
gallon?
Supply. It was a 40-gallon sprayer tank is what it was, with a diaphragm pump. Now you can't. The sugar water I'm putting in there is a little bit under 2-to-1. It's not quite. I think I needed to add my calculations was another 50-pound bag of sugar, but I don't. It does, if you're close, and the pump will pump it. If it gets too thick, that diaphragm pump will not pump it and stuff.
I have a 25-gallon right now, and I'm thinking about upgrading. And the next one up.
The story behind that tank was, I went up to Tractor Supply, which wasn't local to me, up in Pennsylvania, and somebody had bought that tank and returned it because it didn't have sprayer arms on it. It just had the wand, and I got it for like $90, like half price.
Man, what a steal!
I said, he said, it's been used. I said, does the pump work? Yeah. I says, put it on the truck.
Yeah, that's a $300 unit.
Right. So that's how it came to be. I mean, if you want to look at it, I've got some videos about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Did you put a gas pump on it, or you just used a wand?
No, I just used the electric diaphragm pump that came with it.
Yeah.
And then I hook it directly into the brake light system for like a trailer, the 4 little prongs.
Yep. Yeah,
Stick
exactly.
that in there, and then turn your marker lights on.
Turn your lights on. Yeah.
Just turn your marker lights on, and now you got endless supply of electricity.
Yeah.
For your pump. And it works great for me. My big thing is to get rid of buckets, as far as 5-gallon buckets, mixing and hauling and toting and all that stuff.
That's what I'm trying to get rid of too. Yeah. Picking up buckets and dumping 5-gallon buckets in feed and stuff like that. I tried it last year, but I'm gonna do it again this year. See what happens.
The biggest thing is now I have a forklift. So I can raise my tank up and gravity feed into that tank. If you have like a lot of folks build those tanks, the 55-gallon plastic drums, and they got a trash pump and they sit there and circulate, or a 2-inch pump like Tom up there has on his IBC tote. You can mix that sugar, with cold water, and then have a valve system on there where you can pump it right over into your 40-gallon tank, or whatever size tank you got. You won't have to do any buckets at all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. I built one of those last year, I got to use it at the end of the year, but this will be a first full year that I have that 50-gallon. You know, I went with a 1-horse sump pump, and with the PVC and, you know, with the shutoff valve, so it pumps it out. And I think that thing's pretty cool. So I'm going to put it to use this year.
Yeah, that'll work good. And just you have a T in there with a garden hose or whatever you could hook to it and pump it right up to your tank in your truck. And then you alleviate handling anything. And then of course, the way I have my hive set up, I can walk or I can drive right along the front of them with my truck. And
Tom. Yep.
Tom's got that unit there.
That's awesome. I don't have a pickup truck, so I'm operating off of a trailer. So
yeah. Now, Tom James is in the. I guess he's still in the chat. He was the one I think you were watching his videos, James McNally.
McNally, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the chat. I don't, James, if you're still in this, make a post if you want to. Say whether you're in the chat.
I tried hooking up. I welded some square channel to the side of the trailer and bought one of those deer skinning, winches, and I was going to use that to lift hives up over into it. But the problem is that it doesn't swing out far enough. You gotta pull the trailer up, like a couple feet away from the hives. It will work, but you got to pull up real close to the hives. And that's one of those ATVs. It hooks up into the back of your trailer hitch for field dressing deer. But I rigged it up so I can put it on my trailer.
So it's like a winch arm, you might say.
Exactly, yeah. But it only goes out about 6 feet. Yep. Yeah, but I mean it's electric winch on there. It's remote control. So
right.
I showed it to some people and they're like, "Man, you're crazy."
So do you move your hives quite a bit, or?
I do some pollination, but I move them. So I'm set up at a farm and I rotate my hives to the different fields as the season moves. So it's in strawberries in the spring, then it moves to melons, and then it goes to pumpkins and later on in the year, that kind of stuff.
Well, Bohemia Bees was in here. Jason, he's into pollination. He's over on the eastern shore of Maryland.
Yeah,
and he has pollination trailers where I think he can sit, I'll say 20 or 25, 24 hives. It's like either 10 hives down the side of each side of the trailer, and you can walk up in between them. And then he just drops the whole trailer right there.
How far are you from Bohemian Bees?
I'm about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know Jason, but I know where he is, and I know you're down in Maryland.
I'm closer to Baltimore more so than what he is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like 10 minutes from Dan, 15 minutes from Dan.
Man, you guys give me a lot of good ideas. Just all my hives are right next to my barn. I was already going to build a lean over my hives this summer. So maybe I can buy one of those big totes and put it right in the center and just be able to hit them all.
Oh,
20
yeah.
feet each direction.
I would say just don't go cheap on the pump that you buy.
Yeah, now Tom up there has the pump. What do you got? A 2-inch pump, Tom?
Yeah, that's right. It's a 2-inch trash pump. That's hooked to it.
What make is it?
Oh, that's a Harbor Freight special. So Predator.
Okay.
I bought the 2 or 3 year warranty with it. I think I had $200 something in it. And the guy, when I was purchasing it, says to me, "Do you want the extended warranty?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" He said, "It doesn't matter what is wrong with it or what is not wrong with it." He said, "The day your warranty runs out, just bring it up here and you can get a new one." And I was trying to figure out why he would tell me that. I don't know how you're going to continue to make a profit there if you're getting.
I get one of those about 2 miles from me. I might have to try that, Tom.
That's an inside secret, right?
Yeah. So, but
Yeah, I was just
anyway,
looking
I
at
said,
that Predator pump tonight.
well, I can tell you it works just fine. There's no issues with it. It's a knockoff Honda motor is what it is.
Yeah, it's a Honda clone.
You know, right. Made in
Right.
China.
Well,
But
I've heard a lot of commercial guys. That one guy, I think it was Bob Benny, was, they would get the cheap pump like that, and if it burned up, it was so cheap it didn't really matter to them. Of course, maybe that's why he went out of business. He didn't quite make it in the commercial bees business to a certain extent, but because he wouldn't even check the oil in it, and I'm like, well, I'm not that stupid not to do that, that's but
I've got a 2-inch pump, Tom, and I don't know the brand on the pump, but it's got a Honda. It's a Honda gas, and I've run that thing for 12 years. And first pull start, and I circulate all mine. I use 250-gallon totes like you got there to get it, and then 50-gallon for dispersal.
if it's a legit Honda motor, you can't go wrong with it. Anytime that I buy equipment from my lawn and landscaping company, unless it's a commercial mower or something, any of the smaller equipment that we get, I spend the extra money and I get a Honda motor on it because I almost never have failures out of them. They are tried and true.
I don't think you can kill a Honda.
I don't think you can. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I've had awful good luck with the ones I've got. I used them for spray pumps. I'm a retired cattle farmer, rancher, whatever, and so I've got a lot of that type of equipment around that I use for my bees now, since I'm a full-time bee hobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
JW, I didn't know anybody retired from cattle ranching.
Well, not everybody went broke, see. No, I had cattle for 62 years, so.
Most of the people I know retire and then get cattle.
That's what I'm doing. I got cattle and I'm not ready to retire.
I see where you're at.
Making movies.
You're not too far from me. You're down there in the Boot Hill, aren't you? Pretty close.
Yeah, I'm down there about 25 miles from Arkansas line there in Missouri.
Yeah. I know where Alton is, so I'm Southern Illinois. So.
Yeah, I'm way out in the woods.
So Tom, Melissa, I got a question. So you guys use IBC totes, right? Do you fill it to the top and carry that thing around?
No. I've got tractors. I've got 3 tractors with front end loaders on them, so and forks. I put them on. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's because I'm always trying to figure out the weight. Because I'm pulling a trailer and I got a 500-pound capacity on the hitch. But if you fill up, a container of sugar water that's 8 pounds a gallon, it adds up quick.
It's going to be more than that. If
it's closer to 12.
2 to 1 or something. The water itself weighs 8, so
okay,
up in the 10 or 12 range. If you go 2 to 1, but I've pumped with that pump I've got. I've pumped it.
You do 2 to 1, it's going to be like honey.
Yeah, it's going to be about 12.
So.
I know when I got that 40-gallon tank full in my pickup truck, and it's a 3/4 ton.
Yeah.
You got some weight there. It's not. I mean, the truck handles it fine, but you can definitely tell it's got some serious weight in the back.
You're talking in the neighborhood of 500 pounds. What you're talking about there, Charlie?
That's what I thought. Yeah. Charlie, is your hives right outside, or you got to drive down the road?
No, mine are right on the farm.
Okay.
Now I did that for a while. I went down to a friend of mine's house. Oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles down the road at least. And what I found was, you either needed equipment or you forgot equipment.
Yep.
Or something. And then you have to go back. And then where I live, it's becoming a bedroom community. So there's lots of traffic, especially around 5 o'clock. And it just got to be a pain. And so the fella, he passed away that I was managing his bees for him. And so I just kept on with what I have here and actually expanded some. And it's just so much easier just to, walk around the barn and there's the hives and do my thing and all. And,
Well, I know when I go get that tote of syrup up there from Domino, it's about 3,000 pounds.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And get that in the back of your truck with no forklift or anything to get it off and gravity draining it in the winter time. It rode in the back of my truck for 2 months.
Is that the post I saw that everybody was fighting over sugar for 5 states, driving 250 miles, and there's a 6 months wait to order, thousands of pounds of sugar?
Yeah, I don't know. Where I go in up in Charlotte, they do the liquid sucrose. So I just pull up there. They charged me for the tote, and 250 gallons cost me $600. And then when I go back, I don't have to buy the tote, which was $100. So it'd be $500 for 250 gallons of 2 to 1. It's actually better than 2 to 1. It's like 70% sucrose.
It's probably worth it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's much cheaper than buying bags and mixing it and all that.
Well,
I just have different
like that by us.
Different headaches, right? So where I don't have to mix it, I just drain it into 5-gallon pails, about half full, and then fill it the rest of the way up with water with my hose and dump it out, and it's good, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But then, like I said, I've got a tote in the back of my F-250 driving around everywhere until I can get 250 gallons out into buckets, right?
Yeah, and people drive so nice now.
Yeah.
You don't see what I got in the back of my truck?
If you come down here, if they got a turn signal on, they probably bought the vehicle that way.
Well, Jack, are you still having trouble finding sugar, bags of sugar?
No, it's not. You know what? It's funny. Me and Dan got this running thing, right? We go to Walmart's and see who can find the sugar first. You stay out of my town.
Yeah, pretty much it. You're not allowed in my Walmart.
Yeah, but Costco sells sugar, and they're never out of it.
Do y'all have rulers in your area, fellas? Do y'all have rulers at the discount Kroger distributor? Ruler Foods?
We don't have them up here.
Yeah. What I do is because I buy a good amount of it. It's called the restaurant store. They should have some stores in your area, warehouse. And you have to. You can go in and you can get a guest membership.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Jack. I think he's talking about that place up in Neptune area, the restaurant warehouse or whatever the hell it is. It's like a you have to be a member. I know what you're talking about.
It has to be a member, but it's called the restaurant store. I think it's called. Yeah. Anyway, you can go in there. I mean, so I did the same thing you guys did. Run around trying to find 25-pound bags of sugar. And you go up there, you get 50-pound bags, and it's like, okay, put the pallet on the back of the truck. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I'm done. Now, I might pay a few more cents per pound, but I've checked them a lot of times where, like Costco, seems like Walmart still seems to be the cheapest in most cases over the past years, but it's been fluctuating here quite a bit.
Even if I order from Walmart, I think that the most you can get is like 4 bags. Well, no, I think 8 bags is the most. So you can get, what is that, 25 pounds? 4 is like 200 pounds.
I did that. I said I wanted so many 100 pounds of sugar, and here they had 10-pound bags. And I'm like, people.
Yep.
People, I don't want no damn 10-pound bags.
I always try to get over and I tell them, all right, if you guys can't satisfy my order, I want to substitute, right? So if you're out of 25-pound bags and I want 100 bags and you don't have the 25-pound bags, I want substitute for 10-pound bags, which is cheaper. But you got a checkbox, So, but it's all a game, right, Charlie?
I do a lot of shopping at Walmart, so I just grab a 25-pound bag every time I go there. By the time it's time of year for feeding, I got a shed full.
Well, I
That's
had
what I
that.
do out here on the road as a truck driver. I stop at all the Walmarts when I'm shopping and grab sugar. Then my wife stops in the local Walmart.
And bullets.
The problem I had one year, I did that same thing all summer long, and then I got a mouse problem, and he's eating a quarter of one of my bags.
Oh no.
And then the sugar gets hard.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being able to pour it in, it's gonna plop in like a big, like a rock.
I got that. The humidity gets through it.
I said, all right, I'm done. I'll just go to the restaurant store, maybe pay a few more cents more per pound, and you know, I'll come out of there with 1,200 pounds. And
is that restaurant store local to you, or do you get it shipped?
No, I go up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is an hour.
In PA. Okay.
I can go to Baltimore, and I'm like, I don't feel like, you know, watching my back, and you know, you know, you had to take your shooting iron with you.
You go down to the Bronx to the restaurant store, and
you might not keep buying sugar.
Yeah, Charlie's going to buy sugar. No sugar.
Is there sugar?
I said, you know, it might be 30 minutes longer. I'll go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All I got to worry about is a buggy. And go in there, and they put it in my truck, and I'm done.
And there's no blinkers on them.
And then I've been, you know, they know to by your email address, you know, about, because I've been doing it myself through different email addresses. And then I do have a friend of mine's got a restaurant. He can order it for me through his restaurant, and all I have to do is go up there and pay for it, and I'm good. You know,
Elvis got warmed up.
I might have to try to find a friend to go in on some sugar with.
Well, that's what I did. I had the amount of sugar that what do we got there?
That's the easiest way to buy sugar.
It's a 2,200.
Yeah,
that's
2,200 super sack.
Holy cow!
How much they charge for one of those?
I paid 38 cents a pound for it.
That's cheap.
That's about what it was up there in Springfield, Missouri, when I priced it.
That's called buying in bulk.
38 cents for how much? 22,000 pounds?
No, 2,200 pounds. A little over a ton.
2,200.
200
well,
pounds over a ton.
Where do you buy that at, Tom?
So I got this from our local bee supply, Jane at Isabee's out of St. Louis.
She won't tell us her supplier.
Yeah, she won't tell us her. So she doesn't have the way to haul it, but I do. And I tried to work something with her where I would haul several pallets of sugar on our equipment trailer in return for a better rate. But I think she decided that she thought I was going to, you know, take her deal, and that wasn't my intention. I just wanted a better rate. I'd let her continue to have the source, but I was having a little bit of trouble finding more. So if I find it again, I'm going to buy it again.
I have to go to Springfield, Missouri to get the big old totes like that, or the 2-to-1 sugar totes. I gotta go 140 miles up to Springfield to get it.
So you have a source out there, David?
It's a sugar source right there in Springfield. That's all they do is sugar.
Really? So me and my family drive down to Table Rock Lake all the time, and we vacation there a lot on the weekends in my sister and brother-in-law's house. So sometime I could take my pickup truck down there on the way to the lake or way back, and maybe pick up one of those tote bags. You'll have to share your source if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind. As soon as I get into my Rolodex, I can give you the source next time you're on the stream.
Sure.
Now, the thing of it is, once you get that bag, then what are you doing? Shoveling it?
Well,
how you weigh it?
Well, she is.
We put it in.
She is.
They say the wife is.
Well, I didn't hear him.
This is how I unload it, and then we go into. And then I hired me this good-looking young lady right here to put it in these.
So do you weigh it?
That's a good
When you
helper.
put them in the drums. That looks like tack drums.
Yeah, so they're a food grade drum, and they seal up really tight, so there isn't an insect that can get in there whatsoever. They have a rubber seal on it, and then it has the metal strap that binds it down on top. So the lid, I mean, it's there's no way you're going to get into
Those
it.
are 15
Isn't that what they are?
They're 18 gallons, and I can't remember now off the top of my head. I think sugar was, I don't remember what it was per gallon. I want to say it was 7 pounds, 7 point something pounds per gallon is what sugar weighs.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get about 125-ish pounds of sugar in each one of those, and it's much more manageable.
Do you guys put any bleach in there to save it, or do you use it up that quick?
So when it's in a granular form, you don't need to put any bleach in there. I'm not concerned with it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. I didn't. I thought you were mixing syrup up.
Well, I am mixing syrup, but I don't do it right away. I only do it as I need it. And I would either use it right away. If I was going to delay for more than a few days, I'd probably put a little bit of bleach in it. Or one other thing you can use is I supplemented Hive Alive, the liquid, and I mixed one of those larger
jugs.
Yeah, there's a larger jug. I don't remember how many liters it was now.
Look at a bees
jug in with it. That's also a preservative as well, so it'll buy you extra time.
The only problem with that is I know what the price of that sucker is.
It's expensive, and I wouldn't feed it on a regular basis, but I wanted to use that in my colonies because it's for good gut health too. So I wouldn't feed that year round. That gets expensive.
The 2-liter Hive Alive?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that cost was. I bought 2 jugs from Hive Alive.
I think it's like $800, isn't it?
No, that's not the biggest one. I can't remember now what I paid for it. They had a discount.
What we're watching here is Bob getting filled up with sugar water.
Yeah, that's the way to do it right there.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, that's 70% sucrose syrup.
Looks like a cement factory.
That's the Domino sugar plant in Charlotte.
Cracks me up with all the bees flying around.
Oh, they're all over the ground and everything.
Look at the ground. It's full of them.
That's the way to go right there.
Well, you don't. If you're a beekeeper near there, you don't ever have to feed.
Actually, in
Baltimore,
Baltimore,
happiest honey around too.
Baltimore, we have a domino plant too, and there's a place. It's a hill. It's called Federal Hill, right above the plant. And a friend of mine, daughter, had hives there in the city, and they were like 100 and some pounds of honey per hive because they're all going down there and visiting the sugar plant.
Yeah,
it's liquid. Okay, I thought they were filling it with dry.
No, this is syrup. So
this is that heavy syrup.
So 500 or 250 gallons will make me 500 gallons of 1-to-1, right? When I cut it.
Yes.
So I'm paying about $1 a gallon for syrup for sugar water.
That's not bad.
Basically concentrated sugar water.
That's the equivalent of about 25 cents a pound on sugar. That's good. It's a good price.
That's great.
And Bob, how big of operation do you have?
Well, when I bought these, I had 70. I don't have 70 right now. I'm about 30. They're right around 30 after condensing and everything for the winter. But yeah, that's the
way to go.
And it was a viewer that actually said, "Hey, we can get syrup up there." And I'm like, "Nope." So I drive an hour and a half each way to pick that up, but I don't have to go all the time.
Just like us going to Harvey's.
We got Harvey's distributor by us, and it's an hour drive from me. And we always put a collaboration together. I'm like, "Hey, Dan, I'm making a run. You need anything?"
Well, usually my mentor, who's a few miles away from me, he, I go up there and get it, and then we fill some buckets up for him. So some of that's for him, and some other people will come and get a couple buckets. But I put 250 gallons of 2-to-1 on my hives before winter, and if they died, it wasn't from starving. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but it's still cheaper than buying bees, you know,
Yeah.
every year.
Well, you figure to make 1-to-1, if you get a 25-pound bag, right? That's 25 pounds of sugar. That's 3 gallons, right? At 8 pounds a gallon of water.
Yeah.
So you're spending $18 now for about a 25-pound bag at Walmart.
Yep.
It's that now.
It is.
So, and I'm basically getting 2 buckets, 2 5-gallon buckets for $10.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
that's a good
I saw
deal.
I saw a receipt from January. It was $13 for 25 pounds. The end of the year it was $18. It'll be 20, I'm sure, this year.
It's crazy.
But you guys ever heard this thing that there's a shortage of sugar going on from Colombia?
I mean, I've heard them talking about it up
Heard it
in
a few times, but
Canada. They were talking about it, but I haven't really heard of it down here. But it makes sense. The price is going way up. So
Yeah.
Well, Christ, all the stuff you get at Walmart's beet sugar. It's not even cane.
Which actually is better for your bees.
Beet sugar?
Mhm.
hey guys, I'm signing off.
all right, Tom.
All right, Tom.
All right, Tom. Have a good night.
Take it easy, Tom.
Brad from up in
See you later,
Canada
Tom.
was talking about that on our chat one night, that beet sugar actually, the chemical, whatever you want to call it, is actually better for the bees.
Probably better for their gut.
Yeah. Now, Tom, you were talking about doing that Hive Alive for the gut and stuff. I mean, are you seeing some? I was Hive Alive sent me some stuff to use, and okay, I used it. But I didn't see any remarkable evidence of it, or not as of right now.
So this was my first year using it just for this fall. So right now the jury's still out. I thought I would use it a couple different times to see if I felt like that there was a noticeable difference.
Have you tried Apis at all, Tom?
So I have. That's what we used. I don't remember which one. They have a couple different formulas. One's for a sugar syrup and one's for a pollen patty.
Yep.
Bioactivator.
Biocontrol is for your syrup.
Okay, so I used the one for the pollen patty this spring, but I don't regularly feed pollen. I only do it in the springtime. When I first start to see my first pollens come in February, I'll usually mix them up, and we'll usually put, depending on the size colony, we might put a half-pound patty on there, make them, let them eat it up, and then put another half-pound on there. The idea in which that I feed pollen, because Missouri is a pretty pollen-rich state, so I don't think we need a lot of help in the pollen area. But what I'm doing there is, in the springtime, probably much like anywhere in the country, but particularly in the Midwest, you'll have where the bees will fly for a couple days, and then we'll have a cold snap for 3, 4, 5 days. Well, I understand that they've started to brood up a little bit. The queen's laying a little harder, and if she goes for a period of time where there's no resources coming in, she'll start to scale back down again. Well, it may take a lot more resources to entice her to ramp back up. So what I'm trying to do is bridge the gaps. So if there's a gap and say they can't fly for 3 days because of rainy weather or cold weather, I just put it in there long enough to bridge the gap. So when the weather gets a little more consistent for us, I don't bother putting it back on.
Some mating nukes.
Sometimes I will put smaller portions on mating nukes. And when I'm talking small, I'm talking like maybe a quarter pound. Because I'm not trying to raise hive beetles, I'm just trying to raise bees. So
or my queen ring the builders.
Yeah. So that's the only time I really use pollen. I don't really typically feed pollen much other throughout the year, but I did use the Apis biologic in there.
Try the biocontrol in your syrup. Charlie's the biggest testament. Charlie's a proponent.
Apis biologic.
Yeah, I've used it. I was the first distributor in the States, but I don't carry it anymore. But Charlie was a naysayer, and then he used it and switched his tune.
I didn't, like everything else, I was like, okay, well, maybe. But I used it last fall for the first time, putting it in my feed. You know, you put 1 tablespoon per 40 gallons and mix it. And come this past spring, you know, I'm running 3 mediums in my production hive area. And I normally, you know, normally the bees are in the top 2 mediums. The bottom medium on the bottom board is completely empty of everything, maybe a handful of bees, if that. And this past spring, it was bees from the bottom board to the top. It was brood from from the bottom board to the top. And it's like Ian says, it's rocket fuel. You better be on your A game, and you better be out there a couple weeks ahead of time than you normally do.
I'm about to find out.
Me too.
Well, if you put it in your feed this past fall,
No, I didn't.
did you? Are you going to start feeding now with it or something?
In the spring, yeah.
Spring, yeah, spring. I'm
See, I
counting spring.
don't do any spring feeding, but
I saw that little tiny spoon it comes with. I'm like, oh my god, like this must be
That
really.
must be
strong.
something new because I haven't never got a spoon with
I
mine.
ain't got no spoon of mine.
It comes with 2 spoons
That must be something new they're doing.
from
Yeah.
Hilco.
Oh, Hilco gives a spoon then. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever try putting that in your cereal in the morning and see how you feel later?
It's rocket fuel.
Charlie, I'm gonna get off here for the night. 2 o'clock comes early.
All right, David. Good to see you.
Good night, David.
Yeah,
Hey, David, I sent you a friend request.
Drive safe, man.
Okay, okay.
See y'all.
See you.
See you later. Good night, y'all.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that Apis Biologics.
Oh, you're going to have serious amount of bees.
I
Serious
bet the
amount.
biggest pack made of that.
Oh my god!
This is for the pollen sub. Does 600 pounds pollen patty. Wow. So it'll probably sit here and get very dusty. I'll never make 600 pounds.
That's like a lifetime supply.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was a distributor for it. So I was the first guy in the U.S. that was selling it. And so they came out with this when they started selling. Oh my gosh, they'll let anybody. Ranch, B ranch.
He just recognized.
That's
We're representing you from New Jersey, Randy.
Hey, you got
Put that 600 pounds.
Well, I said 600 pounds, and you came out of nowhere.
I kept hoping him on the phone. He finally got on here.
that's yeah. I want you guys to know that's Tommy McCaffrey's brother, Randy.
Where's Brad? We're just missing Brad.
What's going on, Randy?
I feel like I know all you guys, but we don't know each other.
But Tom, as far as the Apis Biologic and Jack, it does what it says it does. I feed it in the fall. When them bees come out in the spring, I am like, it's like bees on steroid as far as brood rearing. The bees are overflowing like a volcano.
Oh.
There's just brood everywhere. And
So do you think that all right, I'm going to start feeding it in the spring, right? And do you think I'll notice a difference in the spring, or it's better feed it in the winter, in the fall for overwintering?
Well, Ian feeds it in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
So he's
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
feeding in the spring before
my friend Ashby Miller, he's starting to feed right now. He said he's got 2 months before nectar hits. I said, well, go ahead and do it.
He don't have no damn 2 months. He's just
That's
north
what
of
he
me.
told me.
Where's he at?
He's in North Carolina. It's
No way. It's got to be almost like on.
It'll be almost April in 2 months. He'll be hell no. Next month, end of next month, he'll be rocking and rolling. Watch.
I will say, but anyway, it works. I don't know how. I guess it'll work for you in the springtime. I mean, how long are you going to feed in the spring?
Not
In
much.
March?
So as soon as the flow is on, which is like April, it's done. Feeding stops.
You know, if you're going to
You know,
feed,
Jack, you could always do some test colonies if you have. You know, when I see these things, I'm always cautiously optimistic. You know, I don't discount anything. I like to try it and see what I get out of it. But you could always do a control group where if you have some colonies in the same yard and they're of an equal size, feed half of them that, and then don't feed the other ones, and then just kind of get, you know, use that for a basis. I mean, it's, you know, be just a redneck version of science work, right?
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
Ian calls it? Farmer science or something?
no, it's
Citizen science.
citizen science. That's it.
Well,
I don't know. I feed it. I don't feed in the spring, and I feed in the fall. The one thing I can tell you, and I actually said something to, what's the guy's name? Bob Munn,
Andrew.
Andrew, who actually invented it or come up with it, and I said the best analogy that I have with it, it takes your sugar water and turns it into nectar.
Yes.
And bees will survive with sugar water, but they'll thrive with Hive Alive because I think that
Apis.
Yeah, Apis biologic. I get them all. Anyway, with Apis, it turns it into sugar water as far as I'm concerned, and the bees just explode.
So
because they're getting the nutrients that they need, that they really get out of nectar.
I'm 5 years into this. I never even heard of it until I started following you guys.
Well, Ian, I mean, I watched Ian's, and that's how I found out about it. So I ordered it from Canada, and then it was a few weeks later. He's like, "We're looking for distributors." I'm like, "I'm in." And
yeah.
Well, that's the thing, Jack, is I won't say it's a fight, but I'll say I have this same clashing of minds, I guess, or heads, and other bee clubs where you know, Ian coined the phrase rocket fuel for this stuff because he was helping Munn develop it. And we were watching him, you know, he can't tell you what it was. He just called it rocket fuel. And this stuff really just makes your bees go bonkers when it comes to brood rearing. And I get it with these clubs, and I'm like, well, I put rocket, and I'm doing it just kind of prod them. I said, well, you know, I feed sugar water and I put rocket fuel in it. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, I says, and I know exactly what, with that expression, I know one thing. Y'all don't watch YouTube, do you? No.
They have no idea.
Do you know who this person is? Do you know who Ian Stepler is? No. You know who this one and that, all the, major personalities in YouTube? No. I said, you need to get on board here, folks. And they don't get it. They just don't get it.
No.
And this one club I belong to, they were having a virtual conference. Here's Ian Stepler in their Friday night chat. And I think, Randy, you were in there that one night up in Westchester, PA. It was a chat.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who you were. And I'm not, you were talking up there, I think, a couple years ago.
They don't know who these superstar guys are.
Yeah, I wasn't. That was the state conference 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, something like that. Yeah. But what I was getting at is, here's Ian sitting there sipping on, I'll say, wine. And I get on there, and these people are oblivious about these people, and
they have no idea.
And all that.
I was glad that nobody was watching.
Well, anyway, then I jumped in. I thought I got my foot in the door and started talking to Ian on there about, the hive lifters and stuff like that. And they had no clue. And I told them I talked about Apis Biologic here several months ago. And they're just kind of like laughing at me. And I says, all right, fine, laugh at me. I said, they were also discrediting always because of the season, and it was this and it was that. And I said, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You never used it. I know what I'm talking about. I know what it does. You guys are clueless.
And the big thing is it's a fraction of the price of Hive Alive. A fraction.
It is. I was surprised how cheap it is. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you could go back and see that hive when Charlie opened it up last spring, you'd wonder how that many bees was in that one hive.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you that I started to do my video about single brood chamber management, and I got into this hive on the film, and I'm like, I wasn't prepared for the amount of bees was in this hive. So now this coming spring, I'm completely doing my management about prepping that hive to go from a winter prep to a summer honey flow preparation.
Charlie, that brings up a kind of a segue into this. So, are a lot of you guys running single brood chambers?
Pretty much. You want to? I mean,
Joe.
Go ahead. Single brood chamber management.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was No Life Beekeepers.
It is.
No, that's Bob's night. That's the No Life Beekeepers.
Well, it's become the community, right? We're all the same community.
We're all the community. And see, Bob's got the lighthouse behind him there.
Yep.
I get confused on what night I'm watching.
Yeah.
Whose channel is it tonight?
Charlie's.
I know it's Charlie's. I'm kidding.
Well, all right, Jack, how did you find me if you didn't know?
I've actually been watching you guys for a while.
So did you subscribe?
He's the closet No Life Beekeeper.
I'm a sleeper.
He's just off to the side. Like Randy is. Randy kind of just lurks and then pops in every now and again.
So
you're muted, Randy.
Yeah, you're muted.
You're muted.
Turn your mic up.
It looks good. It just doesn't sound good.
You there?
Yeah, I crack up with you and Brad and Ian, and you guys rip each other apart. Oh man, it's so funny.
That's Robert.
And you haven't even heard the best of the stuff happens after the stream.
That's what makes this so
what
much
you
fun.
hear is the stuff that we can say on YouTube. Not
No, but Jack, are you subscribed to my channel?
What's that?
Yes, I am. That's how
Coming up, Randy, a little bit higher.
I am.
How about that?
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. There you
perfect.
go.
I've been sitting here jacking around with this controller for this microphone. Well, am I on?
Okay.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah.
Is that the one I'm on?
Sounds good.
You got like a focus right or something?
This is a Shure microphone, and then I got the Scarlett 2i2 interface. Yeah, the focus
like
focus
that.
right. Yeah.
So what's that supposed to do? Like a mixer or something?
Yeah, sort of.
It's a
Makes
little
them sound
amplifier
big.
that plugs into your computer.
It allows you to adjust the gain and everything, and the microphone will run just off a USB cord, but you can't adjust the gain. And every time I come on here, Bob's constantly stepping on me. I'm sick of it, Bob.
I think it's just a voice.
If you've ever seen me and Randy side by side, there's no way I could step on Randy. Impossibility.
So I want to show my ignorance, Randy. What is Flat Branch Bee Ranch? I already looked at your site to see if that was.
Oh yeah, nobody knows that. We have a creek right down the street that's called Flat Branch, and when we were renaming our honey, it's Coastal Grove Bee Works, but it was that or Flat Branch Bee Ranch, which I liked better. So
Yeah, that has a nice rhyme to it.
yeah, and so it's Coastal Grove, but that was Elizabeth's honey label.
Randy, believe it or not, I grew up on the
Hey,
Flat
Randy,
Branch.
I was cracking up on your video that you got locked in that 3,000 square acre property that drive 5 miles down that road and get to the end, and the fence is closed.
I did. She said, "Is the gate unlocked?" She said, "I don't know. Drive up there. If it's not, I'll come up and meet you." And I'm like, "Gee." So I got up there and it's locked. I was like, "Holy smokes!" It took me a long time to get up here. I'm gonna have to wait on her, but she must drive that thing like she's in a Dakar rally because she was up there in no time.
My question is you get back in there and there's like you're back in Deliverance Land. Like, what are you
Banjo
doing
music.
It was and I didn't get it on video, but that car that I pulled up to that had the dogs. So when I get back in there, I'm seeing little kind of shanty shacks that have been there for a long time because that family has been on that land for 100 years. And so I get in there, and the first person I see is about a 75 or 80-year-old man getting in that little car. And I got out of the truck and walked over there to him, and he just stared at me. And I said, I tapped on the window. He rolls the window down. I leaned down, and I said, "I'm looking for Amber." And he just stares at me. I'm like, "I'm packing, dude. Don't even try it."
He'd never seen anything down that road as big as you were, Randy. He
don't see nothing down that road. They have a hunting club that passes through it. It's all they've got. But
as far as he was concerned, you're a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
He said,
Bigfoot's here.
He said, "She's that way." And I said, "Okay." So I get back in my truck and he pulls out and goes that way. And I thought he was going to lead me to her house. Well, he just pulled in the next driveway. And so I just kept going. In fact, she'd sent me a picture, so I knew it was a Gambrel house. So when I got to it, I knew it. But
he knows it's a one-way in, one-way out. Right?
Yeah. He knew I wasn't supposed to be back there is what he knew. Some dude back here asking for Amber. He's like, "I don't know what this dude's doing, but he ain't supposed to be." He's just really just mean mugging me. And I'm like, "You too old to be mean mugging anybody. Just tell me where she's at."
looking at you and saying, "You feed us for a month."
If I had more time, I would have gone exploring because there was a lot of logging trails that went off to the side, and would have been fun to go try to get stuck somewhere.
At least they know who you are if you got to go back.
Yeah. I might get to go back.
I told Randy that reminded me of my great-great-grandfather's old place.
Yeah. She was all into the bees, though. She was wanting to make salve and skin products and stuff, so she had me save all the wax. It wasn't any good.
Did she get more comfortable? Because she pulled away real quick the one time. Right?
She kind of did, and then she took off and got out of her bee suit. So I think it was enough for her first time. She had enough.
Yeah. It can be intimidating for people.
Yeah, especially when you're not handling bees on established frames and they're just 3,000, 4,000 bees piled up in a corner.
Take a run through Bob's hive.
I have to flex before I go there.
I forget to zip the veil. It's funny, Bob. I've had that happen to me too. Forget to zip up my veil. I put it on my head. Walk out in there, open up hives, and forget that you're not zipped up.
That young guy that was back there with me, he had his little kid with him. I asked him because he wasn't part of the family, and I said, how'd you find your way back here? How'd you get back here? And he said, "Well, I built that carport over that RV, and I hadn't left since." And I was like, "Oh Lord!"
you were the new cousin.
Y'all go try to.
So here's banjo.
They said we can breed with this one and really grow some strong.
he looks like a breeder, but I don't know if we can feed him.
We can take it out on the trade a little bit there.
Oh my God!
You're back here to mate with who?
We go off the chat yet? We're gonna start a new colony.
Amanda, get out here.
Shit.
That's good stuff.
That's why the gate was locked.
I'm
So he,
fine.
so he couldn't get out, or Randy
Yeah,
couldn't get in.
They probably had a meeting after I left to decide if they were going to let me out.
You better watch out for a callback.
Yeah. I don't know. He's pretty handy with the tools. He'd be nice to have around.
Yes.
I'm going, what tool we're talking about?
New genetics. Hail Hive says they needed some new genetics.
That might be true. That might be true back there.
Add some Randy biologics.
Yeah, got to find your way back in. I found this thing on Facebook Marketplace. Y'all said y'all had it
There's
back
Nancy.
in here.
There's what Nancy said.
You have to rename that video, Randy, Deliverance 2 or something.
Have to add some music.
Oh, God. So what else is going on?
So I was going to comment what I think it was Charlie was saying earlier about the people at the Bee Club not knowing who the YouTube personalities were that were in their chat. So when Tom and I got involved in the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association, we're the young people in the club, right? And
yeah, young. that's all young right there.
You got more than I do.
At least you still got it, Tom. At least you still got it.
All mine slid off my head down to my chin.
So we're the young people at the club. So we were, and new to the club. So they really didn't know really who we were and too much about us. But we were invited by the local bee shop owner, Isabee's Jane, to sit in on these board meetings because they were reorganizing the board and getting the club back going after COVID, right? So we start talking about these YouTube people and this, and some of the members are like, "Oh, YouTube is nonsense. That's all. That's ridiculous. We don't want to hear anything about that."
I learned so much more from here.
Right. And so then we were able to get Dr. Peck. Tom was able to get Dr. Peck to come in to speak at one of our meetings. And
Zoomed in.
No, he came in live.
It was live.
Oh, really? Yeah. And they were like, as soon as he got done talking, they're like, "Oh my God, he was amazing. That's the best talk we've ever heard." Yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
Where we heard from YouTube. And then, so after that, we kind of got accepted into the fold. Okay, maybe they're legit.
You were still, those two that don't have wheelchairs or walkers. The new guys.
So then the other funny thing is, like I said, most of these board members, they'd never, I don't think any of them had ever watched anybody on YouTube.
In COVID, did you all do Zoom?
I think they did, but we honestly didn't join the EMBA until just the beginning of 2023. But anyway, so at the beginning of 2023, none of these people knew any YouTube personalities at all because YouTube was just not trustworthy, whatever. And at Nabi, we had half a dozen of them with us at Nabi.
Actually, there was more than a half a dozen. There was a bunch of them that came.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So they kind of went from non-believers to okay, maybe this is legit. And, and there are good people to watch and learn from on YouTube.
It's good. It's good that they open their eyes to the community.
That's the mindset. That's really the mindset still of the entomologists and the commercial guys and all the PhDs in Mississippi. And I was well reminded of that yesterday. I took my dad to a thing at the USD, not the USDA lab, the MSU Coastal Research Facility down in Biloxi had a get together yesterday where people bring their ideas for beekeeping and ranching and gardening and all this kind of stuff. I'd never been before, so I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a teaching thing, but it was for everybody to get together and share ideas for them to write grants and stuff. And Dr. Jeff Harris was the one that was talking on the bees. He was Zoom conferencing in, but
is that the guy talking about Joe's?
What?
That's him.
What?
Yeah, Joey was talking about him, how good he was.
Yeah,
I wrote his name down. I took notes.
he is. He's very knowledgeable, but he is YouTube beekeepers are beneath him. He's very close with a bunch of the commercial guys, and I won't name names, but they're all in the state association, and they're all shaping.
I bet you I know him. Bet you I met him when I was there.
Him. You did meet him. And so he's asking for ideas, and what I thought was really funny is there's a room full of PhD researchers, and somebody mentioned something about small hive beetles and essential oils, and I asked them, had they done any of the testing with the peppermint oils? You know, it's been all over YouTube for a year and a half or so now, and none of them had a clue what I was talking about. They hadn't heard of that, and one of them just perked up. He got real excited, and Jeff shot me down. He said, "We don't have time for that. We're busy researching what small hive beetles are attracted to." And I said, "We already know what they're attracted to."
Beehives.
but
we done figured that out.
The thing is, he's got a big money grant to research this, so it's all about the grant. It's not about what.
Yeah, you got.
It's all about a paycheck, basically.
Yeah.
So the guy that was interested in, and he wasn't necessarily interested in using peppermint oil as a repellent for small hive beetles. They've been researching peppermint oil or a component, because there's like 40 components of peppermint oil, a component of it for an insecticide. And I don't know what insect they've been working on, but he's out of the Poplarville lab. And I said, "Do you mind if I come over and shoot some video with you for YouTube, some educational stuff?" "Oh, that'd be great." You know, he had no clue who I was, but he's like, "I need to talk to you some more about this, because I think I can write a research grant on this." So it was all about the research grant. So their research is fueled by money, and the results need to justify the cost. So I'm just like, it's nice to have this information, but it doesn't help the everyday guy. And they just weren't interested, other than that one guy that saw an opportunity for a grant.
Well, it was nice to see that guy kept an open mind about it, because I feel like it doesn't matter how educated you are and how many letters you have behind your name. If you're a person that has a closed mind, I think you have limited visual of what's to come.
Absolutely.
And there's something to be said about that. You know, of course, I have much respect for people who do spend that much time in college and learn things. But again, when you keep a closed mind about things, I think you're destined for some type of failure in some regard, you know, or a hard road maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I'm going to go hang out with him and see what they're doing, and just share with him what I've done, and which is not much, but it's more than what they've done. So at least they can.
You've had good results with peppermint oil and stuff.
I haven't done a lot of testing with it, but I have had good results with it.
We talked about that last night too. Peppermints.
Yeah.
And I've mixed when I made my pollen patties up, that I mixed peppermint extract in it, and then if you've got a hive beetle problem when you make your own pollen patties, I took a note off of the Hive Alive, right? Take my pollen patties and put them inside of sandwich bags and smash them flat in there, and then just score the bag so the bees can get it, but the beetles have a hard time laying it. And once it starts diminishing, if the beetles do get in there, then the larva gets trapped in the bag and they can't get back out. So you just take the whole bag out, larva and everything.
That's smart. That's smart.
That's a good idea.
Let me ask a question, if I may, back to the peppermint oil. I don't have a real bad beetle problem, but I do have some. And I do feed in the wintertime with sugar. You know, I make up sugar, not patties, but 5 or 8 pound blocks in my hives at the top of them. What do you guys think about mixing peppermint extract into in the sugar patties? You think that
I don't think you could hurt anything, and even if you didn't, I just drop some candy in there.
Yeah.
Mix some candy in with your stuff.
In the 4 corners?
Because I don't know what the concentrate is on that candy, so I wouldn't know the dosage of actual peppermint oil to put into a feed supplement or something. So that was my next thing to be working on, was to get some actual peppermint oil and start experimenting with dosages, because I don't know what's too much.
Well, that's what I was going to experiment with it, you know, see how much. Pass them around. Let's all have one.
The guy,
I
the
bought
the
two
guy
of
that was
these.
the guy that was interested in talking to me was we were standing there pretty close, and I had some spearmint gum, and he said, "I can smell that you've been testing." I said, "Yeah, I don't have a single hive beetle on me." I was like, "I like this guy. I think I can do something with him."
I know spearmint. I know peppermint oil is real strong. You got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's an essential, but I was just thinking the peppermint extract, which you can get, at Walmart or any place in the little bottles,
I don't think it would take much, but
no, it's
but in my experience, once the candy's gone, it's short lived. It's got to be something that's going to be.
Well, like
in
I
there.
said, I'm making up 8-pound blocks,
Yeah.
sugar boards, and I use 8 pounds of sugar in them and a little pollen and stuff. I was curious as to whether you fellas thought that the peppermint might help some.
Yeah, I think it will. The problem that I had when I started doing it with the peppermints, so there's so many, you have to unwrap so many of them. You have all these little, wrappers everywhere. So that was the biggest problem when you start going through multiple hives and you're putting them on. That was the biggest issue for me. So that's why I kind of stopped doing that and started mixing it. I was putting it in my syrup when I was feeding them, put a little bit in there. But when you're using the extract, it's hard, or essential oils, it's hard to know how much is too much because you don't want it to be too overpowering because then the bees won't,
abscond your hive.
Eat the honey or the sugar. That was my concern, whether if you put it in there where the bees would go ahead and consume the sugar,
They eat the peppermints.
Peppermint's fast.
Oh, did they?
You can drop 5 or 6 peppermint candies in there, and they'll be gone the next day.
Ain't no candy canes on your tree, huh, Bob?
In a good hive, anyway.
Nope. They matter of fact, I was putting them in like 2-frame mating nukes, right? So they didn't get overwhelmed with hive beetles. And you would see the bees would eat it so fast that they would actually, you would pull it out and you'd see red and white where they stored peppermint.
Wow.
Which actually is not.
Bob got a bunch of free candy at a bunch of free peppermints at Christmas, and they finally had to ask him to leave the mall. Santa was getting tired of seeing it.
I just like sitting on his lap.
Yeah. Back when that peppermint was such a craze, I expected them to have a peppermint honey contest at the expo.
Yeah.
You have any problem with that, Charlie? You have any beetles?
Nah, not really. I don't have beetles.
I don't have very many. I have a few, not many.
Actually, I went out there today and I pulled the chloroplast out from underneath my nukes and was scraping off, the cappings and stuff like that and checking for mites and for the droppage. And I only had one nuke out there that had about 4 dead hive beetles on the bottom board on that. And that was it.
Are you bringing bees from further south? Or do you just have a small population of small hive beetles up there?
Me?
Yeah.
I guess it's a small population. I mean, I don't know. Most of my stuff is sitting on blacktop, and the nukes are, and then the rest of it, I've got carpet underneath my hives. And 2 things: I put the carpet for grass control, but then if you have the hive beetle and it's going to drop through the screen board in the summertime, it can't get into the ground to pupate. So you're breaking that life cycle.
Carpet.
Now there's always I know what you're going to say. Well, they're going to crawl or they're going to
until they get to there. Yeah.
They crawl a long way.
And crawl, and
yeah.
I just don't think we have.
I think humidity has a lot to do with it because I don't have that many, and my climate's not that much different than Randy's. But
damn, I keep bees on the roof of a hospital, and I got them on friggin' in those hives on the roof of a hospital with a rubber roof.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right,
in New
yeah,
Jersey
you
for
know.
crying out loud.
I guess it's just, I guess the fact is that I just don't really have the infestation. Now, other folks around me seem to have infestation. I'm like, first thing I asked is, you got them underneath the trees? Yeah, in the shade, or partially shaded during the day. I said, well, my stuff is 100% sunlight all day long.
Mm.
And
I got another factor to that too. Is I know a blueberry farmer in Hamilton up here, and they said that the adjacent fields. So if you got bees set up in a field, and it's better to keep the grass uncut or the weeds or the hay uncut because it acts as a barrier for the beetles when they're flying. So if the grass is cut down low, there's nothing to stop the beetles from flying. They're going to hit your hive and they're going to go right in. You guys have any opinion on that? Make sense or not?
I don't know because we don't have fields around here. This is all pretty urban or really rural.
Well, I've got a lot of fields, but I don't think it make any difference. Them little suckers can fly, 6-8 foot in the air just as well as they can fly 2 foot in the air.
Yeah, they'll fly with a swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
got
go
one.
with the bees sometimes when they swarm.
I got one out yard. They're loaded with hive beetles, and other yards, no problem at all. And I can't.
No.
What's the difference?
Well, is the out yard that you have beetles in more shaded than the others? Because that's where we find our beetles usually is in our shaded yards.
They are. No, I wouldn't consider the shade a factor. I don't know if they're facing a different direction. I don't know, or the wind's blowing a different way, or there's animals on this property and the other one is a farm.
I still think it's got to do with moisture because that would explain why they like to be in the shade.
Well, there's.
But I have to keep my bees at least in the shade during
there's a
the
stream,
late afternoon.
not like
yeah.
Where are you at, Philip?
I'm in Central Texas is where I am.
Oh, so you get hot. You get hot.
It gets crazy hot, but
Phil, that might be the answer.
I grew up in North Louisiana, and I couldn't believe when I moved to Texas, I could take my towel and throw it over the shower rack, and it would dry that day. In Louisiana, it'd take 5 days if
because of the humidity, right?
Yeah,
or get wetter. Philip.
Yeah, or get wetter. But to me, that was just like I'm so glad I moved to Texas because I can dry my towel out. That was the greatest thing in the world.
Well, I don't wonder too if it has something to do with like the different soil compositions on the different bee yards too.
Absolutely,
Yeah, I think you're right too. But our soil gets crazy dry and it's kind of clay, a lot of clay in it.
I'm right. I got one yard that's that borders a swamp, and that is by far my worst yard for beetles. And then I got other yards that are in sandy soil and no problem at all.
Really, I've got sandy soil in mine.
I
have hive beetles hives that bees break out into. It's crazy.
I got kicked off.
Ours that is in the yard that is shaded in ours is kind of in a gully, a ditch or whatever. So there's a lot of leaf litter and probably some really good soil down there too,
And you know what? I think Phil nailed it too. About 20 yards into the woods is a runoff pond.
Marsh, yeah.
It turns into wetlands. Yeah. Yep. And that's probably it. Because my other out yards, they don't have that, and I don't have beetle problems.
You could also try putting a heavy landscape fabric under your hives if you keep them in a row or however you keep them set up. That way, anything that drops through there can't get into the ground and pupate.
I treated the hell out of the area with that chlorothantroniloprol that Grubex lasted this year.
Well, the problem is the beetles do the damage in the hive before they pupate to come out.
Yeah, but the population really didn't. I treated the ground probably 3 times throughout the summer, and I treated it heavy. And the population, I was expecting it to go to hell away, and it just pretty much stayed the same. I still had to back it up with like 3 and 4 beetle blaster oil traps in each one, in order to keep
I
under
think they
control.
just find them. I set up a new yard year before last, and that yard, first year being set up, probably a mile and a half from any other yard, and it had beetle problems right off the bat. And it was a bad problem in that yard. And it had, and so I don't know. I think they just find them.
Yeah, what about maybe colonies that are stressed? They talk about pests sometimes are opportunistic. So if you have a colony that may put off a stress pheromone, and maybe not because they're really unhealthy, but just the fact that they may be a weaker colony, or maybe a split, like you were talking about, Randy. If they can pick up on that, those pests being kind of opportunistic like that.
Yeah. That's funny you said that, Randy, because
I agree. It's the soil. It's that wet.
Yeah, I set up a new yard like a mile and a half from my house, and it's the only yard I've ever had any hive beetle issues at all with. But one of the neighbors complained, so I ended up moving out of that yard. But yeah,
it's funny the different. Even last year, my queens on my yard here at home, a 100% take on matings on this yard, 50% on every other yard. But out of that 100%, it was 47 nukes. But out of that 47, 7 of them requeened pretty quickly. But 100%, I was like, wow, that's unheard of.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yep.
But 3 miles away is another yard. It had 50% success on mating. And the yard's set up different.
Is that because the queens didn't make it back, or just because they didn't get mated?
I don't know. The boxes are set up different on that other yard. That other yard has more sugar ants on it. It's a lot of different factors. It's only 3 miles away. It's the same climate, but there's differences in that regard. This yard here is kind of wetland. That over there was more dry, more clay soil, and there's not any that I know of. There's not any beekeepers close to this yard or that one.
Maybe you got a DCA closer to the 1 yard.
Yeah. No telling.
Magic. PFM.
When'd you get your play button there, Randy?
Oh, shoot. I wish I had never got that thing. I got it, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, maybe. It didn't show up. It didn't show up right away though. And I was gaining 1,500 subs a month had been for years. And when it didn't show up right away, I was like, man, where's my play button? So I contacted YouTube, asked them for my play button, and immediately my channel locked up. I didn't get another subscriber for like 3 months.
Really?
I'm sorry I asked. I'll send it back. I don't know what's going on.
I only got 97,000 more subs to get before I can get one. So I'm just preparing myself, Man,
my channel was growing fast up until that point, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just at that time when Google tried to decide to do something different. But I've heard a lot of other people talking about getting shadow banned, and I was like, maybe I just made somebody mad that was supposed to be packing them things up, and I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the play button? I don't get it.
When you get 100,000
back there on his wall.
100,000 subscribers.
Oh, that. Okay.
You got a little ways to go yet. Not much, Charlie. Just a little bit.
Only 99,000 more. 98,000 more.
Yeah, so it's done that several times since then. It never had before, but several times since then, it's gone from 300 or 400 subs a month to just nothing for months straight. So I don't even look at my sub count anymore. Somebody asked me, half the time I don't even know. They're like, how many subs you got? I don't know, 120, 130, something.
I get anywhere from 35 to 50 subs a month. So at that rate, another 200 years, I'll get there.
Well, when mine started going again, I was getting like 8 subs a month.
So you guys would
half million views, but 8 subs a month, and I was like, math just don't add up.
Right.
But what can you do?
That just means they're not pushing you out to new people.
Yeah, and I contacted YouTube to check on it, and they're like, your channel's working like it should be. And I'm like, no, it's not, but I guess we're gonna play this game.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, something happened because
it did.
Something happened. if I'm watching videos and then I get busy, every time it's either going to be David Burns or Fred Dunn that
Yeah.
comes up every time.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those two every time. It's going to come up next, you know. And it's like, that's just not random.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't give about probably 25% of the views that I used to get.
Yeah.
Of course, I never have got a lot. But,
Yeah.
I'm just as bad as I ever was. I don't know what happened.
Well, it has cut way down. So I'm at about 25% of what I used to be. So I'm 150 to 150,000. 170,000 or so views a month. This month, I think I'm at 170,000 views for the month. But it used to be 500,000, 600,000.
Well, I did that little stupid short today of my smoker, right? And I'm just no words, nothing, just me puffing that smoker, right? 1,800 views. 3-hour live stream, 378 views, right? It doesn't make much sense, but okay.
That last video I put out with that queen walking around getting something to eat, that was part of a longer video, and a lot of people said, "Hey, you should put that out. That'll go viral." And I was like, maybe it will. So I put that out, and it got like no views. It's at less than 6,000 views now, and it's been up for 4 or 5 days. And that's, regular videos gonna get 10, 12,000 in that many days.
I got a question. Are you guys with the channels, right? Are you using your phone or GoPro or a camera with an SD card? And
yeah,
whatever I got.
All of the above.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I use the GoPro and the phone.
GoPro.
I just use the phone.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of different cameras, and my phone used to be my main one. Now my main one is a DJI Action 4, and it's basically a GoPro, same thing. It's just got a bigger sensor than the GoPro.
What do you use for editing software?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
Oh, he's got the expensive one.
Yeah, I've been using Adobe for a long time. I used to use a free software, and it started acting up, and then I went to a $40 a year software, and it started acting up after about a year, and then I got on Adobe, and I hadn't had any problems with it. So
I use Filmora.
That's what I got after Charlie. I was using DaVinci, the free one.
Is that because it's so close to your name? Is that why you like it?
I tried to use that Final Cut. I got it when I bought this new Mac.
Yeah.
I cannot use that Final Cut for whatever reason. I just can't move around in it.
I've heard it's good. I've never used it though.
If anybody wants to do Filmora, I just want to warn you, they will load you up with a bunch of free software, and then they'll start charging you for it in a month, and you will not get that money back. So
I use
everything,
Filmora.
cancel everything except the base program.
They got me on that too, because they did an upgrade, and when you popped into it, it asked, "Did you want to upgrade to the new version?" I'm like, "Well, okay, sure." Boom, I hit it, and then all of a sudden, it's before I could render my video, it said, "You have to pay us for this."
Yep.
And I'm like, "But I already paid you for the lifetime one." And it asked me, did I want to roll back? And I said, yes, but it wouldn't let me roll back. I could only pay for it to do it. So I ended up getting stuck for another $30.
Have you ever tried to call them?
Hell no. I already know that.
I never could get a hold of them.
There's a guy that he's a big time YouTuber, but he had sold so many Filmora subscriptions, I guess you could say.
That guy that did the instructional thing.
Yeah, and he got crossways with him, and he was about to put him out of business because he was getting people to move to DaVinci, and they finally yielded and went back and put people back on that lifetime subscription. Bob, I don't know if you were after that or not.
Yeah, that's what I was supposed to have, and
every time I get into mine, I got the 11, and it's as long as I don't upgrade.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay anymore.
But they make it sound like it's just an update to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every time I get in, I have to say, no, I don't want to upgrade, because now it's wanting me to upgrade to 13.
Yeah, I'm right where you're at, Phil. I'm at 11 point something, and every time you upgrade. Now, I don't want all your hoo-ha stuff on there because I use just the basic cut, stuff.
Yeah.
Jack, you can do
Sometimes
it.
it's
You
a
can
bit
do it really
more.
simple, and most of the time, all you need is a tripod, something like that, that'll hold a phone.
Okay.
But I've got every gadget known to man. I just got this pump.
The hell is that? A breast pump?
Stick on your window.
Pump suction cup mount that came in today, but it's a Ulanzi, and so I can mount it on a windshield of a truck or whatever. And man, when it's locked down, it don't move. I nearly pulled the window out of the truck trying to see if I could pull it up.
Is that how you got the crack in the windshield?
No.
Pull that thing off?
No, not that one.
Yeah, I never did it. I don't know if there's a time limit or well, I mean, your guys' videos goes on for, you can have a video over an hour,
Oh, trust me, there's no limits. We've done live streams for 6 hours before.
Yeah, we're on 3 hours right now.
Yes, 3 hours.
Back in the day, it was 15 minutes, but now I don't think there's a limit for anybody.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I did it last year. I started New Year's Eve of last year. We did it for 6 hours.
6 hours.
Holy moly, a live stream for 6
We
hours.
had Brian from
for
Flowers.
years, and we had to go through 3 time zones.
Half the speakers were asleep.
Well, I went all the way out to Colorado. Brian's on, what is it?
Mountain
3
time.
hour mountain time or whatever it is. And once we did that, that was at 2 a.m. That's when I quit.
Yeah.
Randy, I might be coming down there again soon.
Okay.
Hard Rock keeps sending me stuff to come lose some more money with them. Free trips to Biloxi.
Give your money away.
But no, I mean, Jack, or I use GoPro 9. It's when I started out with.
Okay.
Hell.
I've got a GoPro 5 and a GoPro Max. And the 5, I like it better than the Max. And this is much more expensive camera.
I still got I think the original with no screen on the back.
GoPro?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they up to now? 12?
Christ, I got a Hero 3.
I got the 9 because they had problems with the 10 at the time. And then I've got the
Well, they got a 12 or a 13 now.
I got a 2-inch or 2.5-inch square what do you call it? Video screen on top. So when I'm looking at the camera, I can get the put everybody in frame and that kind of stuff. And I just went to best thing I did, first I went to like the Best Buy or someplace like that. Well, they had nothing on the shelf. So I just went right to GoPro, ordered it all up. And I bought into their $50, I don't know, some kind of membership thing. But they cut you a deal on all the products that you were buying at the time. So, you got your money back per se.
Yeah.
Here's a cheap cell phone mount for a tripod, and it just bends all over the place into spring.
Well, the GoPro works. You don't need an SD camera.
Well, it depends on if you're filming in low light. You're gonna want something that does better than a GoPro in low light, because that's the reason I upgraded to that DJI, and I handed my GoPro off to Mike Berry. So I got that. The only GoPro I've had was a hand-me-down from Yappy. Because before that, I used my phone.
Yeah.
And the GoPro does good, but if you're in low light, like when we're working inside doing a cutout, it just produces grainy footage because it doesn't it'll jack the ISO up to compensate, but it's just not a good quality.
So when you're doing those inside videos, you're using a camera?
Either a camera or my cell phone or this new camera that I've got, this DJI, should do good. I've been playing with it a little bit.
Okay.
But I haven't filmed any cutouts.
These things are amazing.
Cell phones do great.
These iPhones are amazing when it comes to record.
Yeah.
That's like Republican, Democrat, right? iPhone and Android.
I'm an Android guy. I just never got.
I'm Android,
iPhones.
but my rest of my family's iPad.
This Samsung will do 8K video on it. It's pretty good if I'm filming with it. Live streaming, it gets grainy, and that's more because of the connection than it is the phone. But they do pretty good. All right, guys, I think I'm going to hop out.
Yeah, I think I am too because I've got market tomorrow morning. Last one of the year.
I got nothing.
Last one of the year.
Well, of the season, I guess. until July. Until July. Yeah.
Phil just got off work. He's driving home. He doesn't want us to leave now.
So where do you live?
Me?
Yes.
I live in Texas, in Central Texas.
Okay.
North Central Texas.
What y'all's temperatures been like down there?
It's been raining all day today, and it's been right in the 50s, low to mid 50s.
Oh, isn't it flooding down your way?
It could be. I hadn't really paid attention to the news.
Well, it's on the news that it's flooding down your way.
It's been raining for 3 days about. Or it rained like Monday through Wednesday, and then it started up again today.
It was 77 here today.
I was happy for it because my tanks down at the farms hadn't been filled up yet, so hopefully they'll be filled up after this, and then and these are the kind of rains that'll make the spring for you.
Yeah.
It really get the water table up.
Is all your bees Africanized down there?
No.
All mine are.
They can be hot from, depends colony to colony and the weather and stuff, but no, I haven't encountered anything that I've had some pretty tough ones that I had to euthanize one colony, but it wasn't.
I have to euthanize my whole apiary.
I'm still not.
Yes, true.
I mean, they would, they would come across the yard and sting you, but it was only, one or two. It wasn't 1,000 of them jumping.
I can't get around the bushes good, and one's trying to pop me in the head.
So you can't even get in your car without 50 of them jumping in with you.
No.
I'm gonna jump out of here. Charlie, thanks for leaving the gate open for me tonight.
Oh, that's no problem, man. Hey, it's good to see it at Hive,
Oh yeah, that was
the expo and all that
good
stuff.
times. I'm glad I got to run into you there.
All right.
All right. Well, good to see you. Come on back
all the rest of y'all
anytime.
too, and y'all. And
Take care,
Jerry,
Randy.
even though you had me choking on some hot honey. All right,
I can't wait
to
till that comes out.
Good night. Good
All
night.
right.
See you later, Randy.
See you, Randy.
See you later.
All right, guys. I'm out of here too. Good night, fellas.
See you later,
Yeah,
Phil.
Phil.
Good luck
All
tomorrow
right.
at your market.
Thanks.
All right, now we're down to this.
Yeah, some good stuff.
All right.
Y'all know what he's talking about with the hot honey, huh?
Yeah, he's probably got that habanero honey.
I think
There
it's
was a
time
guy-
for me to pull out of here too, you guys. I'm getting
Good
a
night,
bit
Dan.
tired.
Have a good night, Dan.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Good seeing you. We'll talk soon.
There's a boy come out there, wanted him to taste this. He had 3 different hot honeys, and Randy wouldn't taste it. Him or Mike Berry wouldn't taste it.
You made it in, did you, Carl?
I started.
Yeah, I've been
tasting-
watching.
Go ahead, Joey.
I
Sorry.
started tasting it. I started with the mild one and worked through to the hot one, and they was ready for me to start crying. I said, when I got to that hot one, I said, "Give me another taste of that." And then they started tasting, and they backed off of it.
So,
Hey, Carl, I got a question for
Yeah,
you.
boys.
Go ahead.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Hassai.
Hassite? Sack?
Hassai. Hassai or Hassai.
Okay. I'm an old Southern boy, so I didn't that
I'm not Indian. I think you could figure it out by looking at me. I'm not Indian.
he's Italian or something, I think.
No, it's Slovak and Polish.
Okay.
I'm screwed both ways.
Well, I didn't mean to get personal. I was just wondering how to ask you that.
No, it's not. No big deal. I've heard it all. Hassoy, Hassaj, Hassajay. I've heard many things. So
Yeah, for all the, Jack and Tom and Melissa, Carl here, he's from up in Wilkes-Barre, PA, and he he's a up and coming creamed honey entrepreneur,
yeah,
and all that stuff, and does a lot of what do you call it, flavored honey, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Infused?
Not infused. Creamed honeys that with we do apple cinnamon, we do cinnamon, we do peanut butter, and then I do my hot honey. And then in the springtime, we're going to jump into probably blueberry and possibly raspberry in the
Nice.
springtime. Once we start getting a flow and get into July, when I say spring, I actually mean like July, August. So
Yeah.
with the honey I get in. So, but I've been playing with that for quite a few years now. So it's good selling and it works out really well.
Carl, do you have cottage food laws in PA?
Yeah, but I'm covered by it. I have the license in that now, so I'm all covered.
So did you get through all the hoops now?
Yeah. I actually had the inspector here. He looked everything over. It's not a big deal. I just have to wait for the paperwork to come through the state now. It's pretty much a done deal. So I got the sinks with the air gaps, with the mop sink, with the the hand sink, and the all the basic stuff. It's not that hard. So for me, it wasn't hard, but I deal with it all the time, so it wasn't a big deal.
We had such a battle in New Jersey about that, and it was going on for over a year, maybe 2 years. When the cottage food laws came out, they categorized honey, raw honey, in the cottage food, and we fought it and won. And it was a big victory, big time, because that would have hurt everybody. So the raw honey was not considered. It didn't fall under cottage food law, but as soon as you manipulate it, you fall under cottage food law.
It's the same here in Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, now actually something that's actually considered honey law that allows certain things to take place as long as, like Jack said, you don't manipulate it or add to it.
Yeah.
At that point in time, you have to have a commercial kitchen.
And I think you can sell up to like $50,000.
$50,000.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it was crazy amount. They were like they wanted $50 a month, I think it was, to register under the cottage food law, or it was some crazy amount of money that it would not make sense to fall within the guidelines of a cottage food law. So luckily we won. So yeah.
What about the you guys had a big blow up there about 2 years ago about how many hives in the area and
yeah, they still think it's the acreage per hives, and it's like 1 acre for 3 hives for 1 acre, something crazy like that, right? But the way you can get around that too is my yard is an overwintering yard, so that doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, like Landy up there, Simone, she's got a bunch of hives.
Yeah.
And how does she get, she's more, I'll say, sort of commercial.
I think the only people that can enforce it is the inspector, maybe, which is Megan. And I'm not sure about that, but I think that might be the way it falls.
Well, I know in Pennsylvania it goes by the townships too, the cities and townships and stuff like that. We don't have anything on the books about acreage, but it has more to do with the city, townships, and the way that your property is licensed.
Yeah, I actually, before I became a beekeeper and started keeping bees on my property, I reached out to the town and I asked them, what are the guidelines and what can I do, what I can't do? And they were like, oh my God, no one's ever asked that question before. We don't know. So they turned me to the Department of Ag guidelines, and there is no rules. So whatever the township rules are, the Department of Agriculture overrides the local laws. So nobody in my town can tell me I can't have bees unless my neighbor's getting stung and they're allergic and they're dying.
Carl, he wants to know whether you heat your honey before you
I was
cream it.
actually just typing, no, I do not heat my honey at all. I mean, if it's in the, if I have it in the creamer that's the heated creamer and it gets a little too thick, I may turn it on to bring the temperature up just a little bit to make it so it flows properly. But that's it. I do not actually heat my honeys.
Yeah.
Not
Hey, Bruce.
whatsoever. Just like most of us, we're not going to heat our honeys. We don't want to kill the good enzymes in that. So besides a bottling tank heat, that's about it. So
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to keep the crystals small and
yep,
and a bunch of other stuff, and then you reheat it and whatever.
Do you use a creamer to cream your honey?
yeah,
Or do
I
you-
have a Lyson creamer, and then I have a one of the new Hilco creamers.
Yeah, we just bought that Hilco one at Nobby. We haven't
Yeah.
had time to try it out just yet, though.
Well,
I
Carl
like
tell
the
you about-
Hilco one. I do like
Yeah.
the Hilco one. It has a little better pitch on the blades, and it mixes a little better, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with the Lyson one. I do like the Lyson one because I have the heated bottling tank all in one, so I do enjoy that. But the Hilco one is a better mixing piece of equipment, in my opinion. The pitch
Well,
is
that's
just
what
a little
Brian
better pitch.
Brian Ferris was saying something to you about he likes the Hilco one a little bit better than the Lyson one too.
Yeah, Brian Ferris or Byron Ferris with
Brian,
Ferris
yeah.
Ferris Farms.
Yeah, well, he should know.
Yeah, I was asking him a little bit about it, and he uses the Lyson, and he's had that the last couple of years. But he told me he actually bought one from John too, and I said, "What was your thought?" He said he likes it. The one thing that was really nice is he said that he feels like on the slowest speed for the Lyson, he said sometimes it's almost too fast, but the Hilco will actually go down to basically zero. You can run that digital controller down to almost nothing. He said so.
Wow.
And if I remember right, I think Chris Summers, who's working for John at Hilco, he I believe he said he runs around 8 or 9, if I remember correctly. I don't know what you typically do with yours to keep it from
I
ripping.
was running. I mixed at about 12.
12. Okay.
Once I blended. Well, once I had it blended into a creamed honey, then I go into my you might as well say seasoning or spicing stage, and then I wanted to blend it really well, so I was running a little higher RPM, and the Hilco comes. Well, they both come preset for 3 days, I believe it is. I usually run them 2 or 3 terms. Usually I cream it on one term, then I jump into the next one and I split it, and then I'll put my flavoring in, and I'll do either another term or 2 more terms. And with the peanut butter, I can go all the way out to 15 days. But the peanut butter, I found that changes flavor a little bit, so you got to watch yourself. But the only negative thing is you'll end up with an ice cream scoop. Put in containers like I did for 100 pounds and this fall. But I mean, which sucked, but I made sure I had the flavor I wanted.
Yeah.
So,
But does
And how
Hilco?
long do you refrigerate that for after, or what's your process?
in the fall, because of the fact that my summer honey was sold out so quick, once I let it thicken, I usually wait about a month. At first I try not to refrigerate. I keep it in my downstairs, which keeps the temperature of about 60.
Okay.
And after about 2 to 3 weeks, it thickens up pretty nice. But now in the fall, being that I had the demand was there, I actually did put it in the refrigerator for about 5 days.
Okay.
And I tinkered with that. First, I tinkered with a wine refrigeration unit, which I fit about 60 bottles in. And then I was like, all right, this isn't working as fast as I like. So I put it right into the fridge, and it did increase the setup time quite a bit. And each one that when you play with them, when you're mixing them, like the cinnamon sets really nice, a lot quicker. But then when you start doing with cinnamon and apple, which we call apple pie, you are adding that apple. It almost like the apple brings out a little bit of moisture in the honey. It's weird, even though the moisture content didn't change, but it doesn't like to set quite as quick.
Interesting.
So it's trial and error, and I'm playing with it, and next year is going to be pretty interesting because I've been building up my hives too, and that, so I'm going to have more honey to play with next year. I hope it's looking good so far, You never know what the hell our winters are going to do here,
And
So
the bears.
And the bears, yeah. If it's fighting a bear off in the fall, so knocked over 17 hives on me, So,
Ugh.
but I'm playing with a little everything. So I'm hoping that if it works out, that I'll be increasing my numbers quite a bit, and I could have a little more honey to play with to keep on mixing and playing around with this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we haven't experimented with flavoring any of our creamed honey yet. We've just kind of been working on perfecting the seed for the creamed honey, getting the texture that we like and whatnot.
I played around with the seed, and I'll be honest with you. I went to Tractor Supply and I bought 15 1-pounders from a beekeeper out of New York, and it was nice, very thick. And I started with it. I tried the mortar thing and that. I'm not wasting my time.
I spent 4 hours. I spent 4 hours
very
one night with the mortar and pestle grinding granulated honey, and I got it. I got it to, like a really nice consistency I like. So hopefully it stay. I'm always scared that sometimes even in your bottling tank, even though you have it warming, when you turn, you release the lever, to let the honey out, you'll still sometimes get some granulated honey in there, from it's settled in the valve. And I'm always worried. I'm like, I don't want to put that into my creamed honey because it's going to completely mess up my seed, Yeah.
So, I'll be honest with you. I actually, after I did that the first time,
that's where you fill your kitchen bottle up first.
Yeah. Well, I've done that before too. Yeah.
I after the first time of me trying that, I went to hell with this. And after I did that the first year, each time I made a batch, I started keeping my own.
Yeah, right.
And now with the Lyson, I'm up to I'm pulling 25 pounds every time that I do a full batch. So I'm using that as my seed. I'm keeping my own seed. So it's working, So, but I did that mortar thing, and wasn't for me. I was like,
my hand was so sore at the end of the night from holding on to that, grinder, whatever you want to call it.
I gotta be honest with you. I didn't feel any different after she did that.
He wasn't even home that night.
I hope you were. Mom, I hope you were filling the glass of wine or something. At least.
I don't even drink. He wasn't even home that evening. I don't even know where he was.
I was sitting outside waiting for her to be done. I was watching in the windows waiting for her to be done, and then I came in. It's like, oh man, I was working really hard, Yeah.
My beer's empty.
Yeah.
No, he was more like, I'll go back out and I'll move this bobcat around or something. I'll make it look like I'm staying busy out here.
Go tear some more stuff up.
But the other question is, you guys having any problem selling your honey? Well, no, when you start having a problem selling your honey, then you could diversify. In the meantime, just play with it. Seriously.
I tell you what, though, when we go to market, that creamed honey, just about every single person that we get to sample it buys a jar of that creamed honey.
Yeah.
So it's really just getting, like, first off, nobody knows what it is usually. And then you tell them what it is, and like, you have to try this. So we usually start with the creamed honey, having them try that. And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing, because they've never had anything like it before. Mm-hmm. So it's usually a really good seller.
That's the key, though. You have to get people to sample it. You don't take no for an answer. When they sample it, your sales will go up by like 80%.
Tom's taking the spoon and shoving it down their throat.
or do you get the answer? Oh, I can't eat that because I'm lactose intolerant.
I've never heard that one. No.
We've had some vegan people not want to try it because apparently honey is a controversial. Is it or is it not vegan?
There's a face on it.
I know that every time you put a sample out there, it's a sale.
Yeah, You're right.
Pretty much.
Just about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to, pardon my interruption. I'm going to check off here as past the old man's.
All right, JW. We're getting pretty late here.
And I'll be back so I can get my computer working a little better.
We usually quit a little bit, but it's been a good talk, so that's why I keep on going.
It's a good one, Charlie.
I made a
good one tonight.
I made a chocolate one in the springtime along with the cinnamon, and then
I'm gonna get out of here too, y'all.
Joe,
All right,
good seeing
Joseph.
you, bud.
I'll see y'all.
Bye, Joey.
See y'all on the next one. And Jack, you're the only one here. This is the first time I met you. Good to meet you too.
Yeah, Joe, very nice to meet you. I'll see you on the others too.
All right. Night, Charlie. Everybody.
Night, Joey.
But
Yeah,
but
Night,
I,
Bruce.
yeah, but I played with the peanut butter last year a little bit, and then this year we started with the cinnamon, and then we did some chocolate or cocoa. Well, we made a 5-gallon pail full, which is 50, 60 pounds, and
Yep.
we took it to first sale, and people were sampling, and it's like we sold a little bit, but it was like it wasn't selling. So we kind of put it on the back burner, and then we went to a sale right around Black Friday, and I said, we're taking that with us. I said, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to sell it and whatever. I said, only if nobody wants it, we'll cut the price. We're just going to get rid of it. You know, that all sold out before everything else.
Wow.
You never know what people are going to want. It's,
Mhm.
you know,
Yep.
it's funny because I don't know if it was because you're in the middle of holidays. Everybody's like, all chocolates, this and that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but you know, tinker with it. If you're selling your honey good, start making a batch of this and playing around with it, and that you won't regret it.
So when you're flavoring the cream honey, are you using like powdered flavorings, like
Yes.
powdered
Yes.
peanut butter also?
Yes. Yes. I use powdered and freeze dried products to try and keep everything organic
Mm-hmm.
and clean products and reputable
Mhm.
products.
Right.
You know, read your reviews and that. The one thing is you start to do something like I know that I saw earlier, Brian from Harder Street was in here just a little while ago.
Mhm.
You know, you have to watch because you want to make sure that they're reputable, because you could buy freeze dried, powdered, whatever, blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, you know, whatever, watermelon. I'm sure you could probably get anything, but watch your ratings and that, and make sure you review what their ratings are on each one of them, because you start reading into some of these and there's additives in them. They're
Mhm.
not pure.
Preservatives and yep.
Yeah, you got a lot of garbage in them and stuff like that. So you got to do a little bit of research in that, because the last thing you want to do is put something in that's maybe going to spoil in the
Mhm.
future too.
Yeah.
Right.
Good to know.
So
Yeah,
do a little.
you just ruined 60 pounds of
Yes.
honey. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
So I see more. I think Darren, we talked about this. Darren from PA Beekeepers said that he was doing the mortar thing too. He says that was enough of that. So,
Well, it didn't seem to affect me a whole lot, so I'll probably just keep up the same process.
It probably is a lot easier to buy it from somebody who already. Hey, Melissa, can I buy some of your mortar and pestle?
Sure, you
seeds?
can. Absolutely. I'll have her make you more tonight. How much you need?
Tom, can I buy some of yours?
Absolutely. You bet.
Jack, I like you, but you know what? I'll give you some, but it's going to be $82 a pound for that.
Well, that's what I was
mortar
thinking. I was
one.
thinking like $75 an ounce.
Hey, while she's making it, I need to go outside and get in the skid steer. I'll be back in a little bit. All right, guys? 4 hours exactly.
That's right. How long does it take to make a batch? I'll be 1 minute after that.
That's right. I actually almost bought her some. Byron Ferris with Ferris Farms there at Nobby was selling his seed toward the end of the day, and I almost bought a gallon of it for her because his is pretty phenomenal. I like the vanilla, and I bought some from him. And I was thinking about it, and you know, that place was just off the hook. There was so much going on, and now I spent so much money.
I don't know that we could have fit another jar of honey in our.
It was
in our
close.
truck.
I had the entire back of my
one
truck.
jar.
Yeah, it was the back of the entire back cab of my truck was loaded with stuff. I had the Lyson automatic uncapper back there. I had a bunch of Hilco stuff. I had the creamer back there. And I had a buddy of mine from St. Louis actually hauled back the horizontal hive from Ricky in his pickup truck to get it back to St. Louis. So I think I need a bigger truck. I need one like that, like Sawmill Charlie's got. He's got that beautiful Super Duty I've seen on his video.
Yeah, Charlie,
I
you
like that
drove
one.
down there. I saw all your videos.
Yeah. All right. All you got, just Tom and Jack, just I'm gonna close the chat down, but you stay or don't press anything.
Okay.
All right, guys. Everybody in the chat, I'm gonna go ahead and shut the live stream down. We'll see you next Friday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
You got it.